Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590 ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage. What's going on, DB?
What's up, buddy?
Nothing. Just
How we living?
good. We got some French Open on. I'm excited about that.
I noticed it's pretty unfortunate
Why is that?
that you went from Sports Center to the French Open.
We got Sports Center over here now.
Yep, but I can't see. So if you
Oh.
felt like turning, you should have done that because there's not one good singles match on this
We
morning.
got Alcaraz on this morning.
Yeah, he's playing bums like Kim Jong.
I don't think that's his actual
It's not
name.
really his name.
I think it's just DeYoung.
But anytime you're going like minus 450, I'm probably not watching.
I mean, listen, I
And
just
it's more than that.
want to
too.
see how he starts, and
Do you?
then
Okay.
if he
That's,
looks like he's
that's,
on track,
that's
then
good.
we'll switch it over.
That's great. It's great.
I'm just
So, a singular tennis match of a one versus none. That's awesome.
Yep.
Very good taste. Pretty selfish, but that's all right. I can adjust.
Selfish.
I keep my head on a swivel anyway, so I have all the other televisions.
I mean, listen, we'll we'll see what we can do. Maybe in the next break we'll make some choices.
No,
we'll see what
I
can happen.
can't imagine you giving in to peer pressure.
I mean, I can kind of see this one when I'm looking at you, so maybe I could switch that one to tennis.
No,
and
we're just
That's fine.
We're not gonna be. This is not kind day.
This
It's
is-
Wednesday. This is hashtag Don't Be Kind Day.
I don't think that's it.
I know.
I
And
think we
most
should-
schools are out except for. I am happy that the summer school
Oh yeah.
that starts.
Is
Although
it
we're kind of gonna go every other day with her.
is summer school like a lot of kids do summer school now?
Yeah.
Because when I was young,
It's not really summer school for academics. She's only in the.
it's like for
She's a kindergarten.
daycare, basically.
Correct.
Okay. Because when I was a kid,
It's like
summer school.
it's like kids club on steroids.
Okay. Because when I was a kid, summer school was for the dumb kids.
Yeah, that's probably a little harsh, but
I mean, that's how we viewed it.
we're already trying to figure out what grade, if there is one, where we can have her repeat.
Yeah, she's young for a grade.
Oh, incredibly!
Yeah.
She'll be 6 in 2 weeks, and she's done with kindergarten.
See, I turned 5 like 2 days before they sent me to
Yeah,
kindergarten.
she's a. Full,
I'm an August birthday.
She's a full year. So was my buddy,
Yeah.
Brian Cobbs. He was August 13th,
Yeah, I'm August 12th.
and he went back in middle school. So he went back and did eighth grade with us.
Did he?
Yeah. And he didn't give a what.
There was-
that's kind of his personality.
There was kind of a time where I wished that I had been in the younger class, because then I felt like I was, but it's not like I was developmentally behind. Like I was 5'9" in 5th grade. I just never got any taller.
Yeah.
So I don't think the extra year was gonna help me.
Like Caleb is actually he's just turning 19 today. So
Yeah.
he's about right on time.
Yeah, it's about where you'd want it.
So it's like, but she was I mean, she's incredible. So,
Just rip roaring and ready to go.
well, how many times you talked to her? She's literally a genius. She
Yeah.
got up this morning. She doesn't have to be at school until 8.
I worked hard at school.
8 whatever. And I'm in the kitchen. Nobody's home. I think apparently the dogs went for a walk. I had no idea. But anyway,
Your house is just empty.
and
And you're
literally,
like,
hey, listen, literally,
where is everybody?
literally. So I'm getting the vitamins out and whatever, and she just comes bebopping out with this life-size bear, and she's like, "How's my hair?" God is my witness. I was like, "It's just gonna be one of those days."
Kid's a little gangster.
Yep. How's my hair?
Brush your mouth and
That
nose.
looks like it's awful because she knows when she goes to school,
Yeah.
bed with it down. I mean, it looks like a lion's mane. She just says some crazy stuff. Are you telling the story when Ryan was beating her in Uno
Yeah.
and she just took the cards from him?
Yeah, he wasn't playing nice because he was winning. So she's like, "Hey, you don't get to play anymore."
Yeah.
You're winning.
It's just me and her yesterday, and she lets her friend come over, and that's the first time she's had like really friends come in and out of the house.
Yeah.
I'm not built for that.
No.
No.
Why not?
It was driving me up the wall. She has a cash register. She didn't play with it in 6 months.
Yeah.
Since Christmas.
Yeah.
What did she decide to do? Want to play at the cash register at the kitchen table. So what else does she do? She gets everything that she thinks is a grocery. An open thing of chips, hot dog buns, couple fruit snacks, some oranges, apple. I mean, the table, it's just a disaster.
Mom, get my nuts.
And they're just grocery shopping. And I'm like, don't smash the bread. Don't crush the chips.
Be careful there.
It's just in and out, in and out, in and out, in
Yeah.
and out. I'm just not built like that.
Yeah,
Hey.
me either. That's why I don't want kids.
Yeah, I got to figure out. So, parents out there, is that like a sit down? Do you like talk about the parameters of when you have friends over?
Mm,
I felt bad because she never has anybody come over.
yeah.
You know, occasionally she has her little buddy Sadie come over, but Sadie's low maintenance.
I don't know. Yeah, I would probably have some ground rules, but I also feel like I'd be the parent nobody wanted to like none of the kids.
You
wanted to-
couldn't like it wasn't free reign in our house when I was little. You couldn't
Yeah.
even go upstairs. You certainly couldn't go in the kitchen.
I feel like
A penguin.
not that many. No, I don't. Why would I feel like a penguin?
Yeah, I don't know. Simple said that once. It was just funny. I feel like a penguin.
No, I don't feel like a penguin.
I feel like a penguin.
I must not have been here for that. That was pre me.
Yeah,
Um,
it's cute. Preemie.
Don't mealy mouth
Cabbage
me.
Patch Kids.
That's a different thing.
Cabbage Patch Kids.
I do remember Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah.
Mostly my older sister had one.
Yeah.
Had some. I don't know. My parents had them. I don't know why they were doing around the house. It's like what are these things?
What are we doing?
They're kind of creepy.
I just feel like I should lay some groundwork.
Probably be like, hey, maybe we don't mess with all the food.
Or I mean, that was kind of cringe. It was more just the lack of boundaries,
Yeah.
right? And remember my rule of thumb: boundaries with no
Consequences.
consequences is just a suggestion.
Yeah. So you're just making suggestions
Yeah.
to 5-year-olds.
Yeah. But I felt that guilt crept in because she was just enjoying herself.
Yeah.
But she is a
Yeah.
trip though. She talks like I wish people could like just meet her.
Zoe?
Oh
Yeah.
and she's I mean
Yeah. She's a whole other deal.
it's incredible. Bro. What are we doing, bro?
What are you doing, bro?
Who's bro? Trying to get choked out? It's awful early for that.
Oh
Oh
fun
yeah, so that's,
stuff.
no, it is. Summer schedule started. I mean,
We-
Micah has hoops at West Side. Then he's got to go back at 4:30 for freshmen don't start yet for
I'll be back.
workouts. So we're back in. I get rid of one and two, and back in full swing with another.
Yeah. That's the problem with kids. It never stops. There's just always more.
Shane, are you feeling a reoccurring theme?
There's just always more.
By the way, did you see Shane got a nice haircut?
Yeah, you get all lined up
You
over
should-
there.
You should put yourself on the stream, like the boss always wants me to be. How can I figure out how to make my screen freeze?
Hello, friend.
It sounds like you already do. I think I already got a text message about it. So,
Dang, should I turn that off?
are you hardwired in? Or you just
Yeah, I
Wi-Fi in?
heard. So I hardwire in sometimes.
Yeah.
And then when I feel like being ornery, I turn my Wi-Fi on.
Okay. Coming up on the show today, 8 o'clock. We've got Brian.
Can somebody fix my email?
I've tried like 4 times.
You suck.
I know. Just because I'm Indian doesn't mean I'm good at IT.
I never implied that.
Well, you do. You are just like, hey, will you fix my phone? I can't.
It's fine.
Like, hey, can you fix my tweet deck? No. Call
No.
Jacob.
Did I tell you about that dude?
No. Oh, he's just walking in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, hey there. From behind. I was like, what the? I know that voice. I turned around because I was putting the trash out.
Yeah.
He's just bebopping on down the street.
Hey.
He's like, yeah, I live right across the street in that complex. I go, oh man, that's awesome. So we just stayed and talked for a little while. He's like, Bigelow lives over here too. I was like, cool. Yeah, I'll have you guys over.
Like
I don't-
Brian Piccolo?
Jacob Bigelow,
Oh, okay.
who I bet would be hilarious.
Oh, Bigelow's great.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
you just imagine us like chopping it up on the back deck watching games.
That would be super funny. It would be it'd be you 3 degenerates watching the NBA. Like
Watching the Fever and the Sparks.
yeah. Or you'd be watching, it'd be, like late regular season non-playoff teams in the NBA. You just be like, oh, this is great. And
People love the long shots.
And I'd be doing anything else.
Oh man.
I'd be like, DB, you can watch this. We're not going to talk about it. So
it's okay. Well, why not? Why shouldn't we just watch Alcaraz?
listen, he's struggling a little bit right now. See,
Oh,
it's early, but he's struggling. We got to see what happens.
Struggling.
The tension is real.
It's 15-0. What's he up? 3-2?
No, he's down 2-1.
Yeah, it's
Palpable.
bro. My eyesight is horrendous.
There's literally like an eye doctor next door. Like you should just walk on over.
no nobody that looks like me even ever goes in there.
Well, black people don't get glasses.
Well, I'm sure they do. It's not. You were suggesting
It's not that one.
You suggested next door.
I'm
like,
just saying it would be really convenient. You wouldn't even have to go in. You just like literally.
How convenient.
I mean, you could
How
take.
you know my vision? How you know they're on my plan?
I have no idea.
Well, you just stop making suggestions then. It's because I can't see.
I suggest you get some glasses so you can see.
That was awful, wasn't it? It's 2-1.
Yeah.
I can see the 1530 though.
That's weird. Is it the color contrast is better?
Correct.
Ah, see, I know some things.
Yeah, white on green.
White on green. We got Brian Christopherson coming up at 8:00. Husker 24/7, our guy. We've got Kevin Sjuts
checking in on his twins.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
They were okay.
Yeah, they were okay. Byron Buxton's still not okay. Kevin Sjuts, 10-11 News in Lincoln. And we've got Rob McCoy. He's the head baseball coach for Niagara.
Niagara goes first.
At 9:43. We'll be previewing all the teams in Nebraska's regional as we go through the week. And we start off with the 4 seed, Niagara.
I hope they win.
I always hope. This is very strange of me, I think. But in these tournament settings,
I small one.
Always want the bad teams to win. And maybe they're not bad is wrong. Bad is wrong.
Higher seeds, you mean?
The worst seeded teams I want to win. Because I do think a lot of them are good, but they just are whatever conference they're in.
I forget. Shane, is it higher or lower when the number's higher?
I think it's lower.
Okay, because they're seeded lower.
Yeah. But it's a lower number, but their seeding is lower.
Yeah, I understand.
That's why I just said worst seed. It sounds dumb when I say it. Like worst seeded makes me sound like I can't read, which is fine.
Apparently I can't.
I can't read. Oh, Alcaraz tied it up. Good. That was close. 2-2.
Oh, yeah. Regular barn burner here.
Listen, he hasn't broken DeJong yet.
We're on like the round. What is this? The round of. We're not even in
second round.
We're not even in quarters.
No,
yet.
it's second round.
What's happening?
You know how you get. Hey, you have to earn the right to play in the quarters.
Oh, Lord.
That's what Matt Rule would tell me.
Man, that's dirty socks.
You got to earn. What's because they're playing on dirt.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
Understandable.
You're playing on dirt. You get dirty socks. That's how things work.
Oh, used to watch my man Bjorn Borg with the dirty headband. I'm like, why would he put that back on his hair? In his hair?
Bjorn?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was a big Borg fan.
He was good. He's very, very good.
Yeah.
He
was a softie too. Are you sure you liked him? Aren't you? You're a power guy.
Nah, see, he was like just before I started watching.
Okay.
So he didn't really catch my eye. I was a Sampras guy.
Yuck.
Yeah, come on.
Nah, Pete was cool.
You gotta be like that.
I just wasn't a Sampras guy.
7-time Wimbledon winner.
Yeah.
So that was my deal. Is like Wimbledon was the one thing I could watch because it was on NBC all day.
Didn't it? At once upon a time, the championships would somehow be on a Monday.
If it got rain delayed on Sunday, yeah. So occasionally,
I just remember a couple times it was on a Monday. I was like, this is weird.
When there's a rain delay over the weekend, they just bump it the next day, and it is super strange. But yeah, like before it was on ESPN all the time.
You eat the parfait, the people like taking the parfaits and stuff off the tray when they're.
It's not parfaits. It's strawberry. It's berries and cream.
Oh my gosh, who are you?
I have great respect for the traditions of Wimbledon.
Shane,
What's the difference?
it's a parfait, man. Get it.
Parfaits are yogurt, which, despite what DB believes, I'm not a huge fan of
Yeah,
because I'm not Greek. And berries and cream is more like a dessert, like a whipped cream.
You're an idiot.
What? Or like a heavy, like a heavy whipping cream.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
whatever.
It's almost like a frosting.
That's cute. Want some strawberries and whipped cream for breakfast?
100%. Yeah. Why not? Sounds delicious. You're gonna go hang out on Henman Hill,
No.
watch some tennis matches.
No, I have no desire to be around
That many people.
or
That many English people.
yeah.
That many white people.
No, that's fine. I mean, I live in Omaha. How bad can it be?
I was gonna say.
But listen, like that's a little much.
Oh, I would go to Wimbledon, 100%.
That would be way down on the list.
That's pretty.
And I actually like tennis.
That's pretty high for me. Going to Wimbledon would be pretty high for me.
And I mean, you're shoulder to shoulder, and you sit there for probably 45 seconds at a time and don't say a gosh darn word.
Yeah, that sounds incredible.
That sounds miserable.
Sounds terrific.
Clap. No way.
Come on.
Look how long these people, they're like not even moving. You sneeze and you're asked to leave.
No, there's a quiet, please. Quiet, please.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, but you got to make sure you don't have like a coughing fit or anything. You can't have allergies.
Yeah.
It's got to be
Well,
quiet.
last couple of days, you'd have to stay your little behind at home.
Quiet on the surf,
How
please.
are your sinuses?
We're getting better. We're on the upswing.
You didn't bring any coffee. I noticed that.
I didn't have any coffee. No, I went a different place for my pastries today. I ate it on the way in though, because my blood sugar was going low, so I kind of had to.
Wow, no meat today?
No meat today.
Sucker.
I mean, listen. Sometimes I just want a little pastry for breakfast. Come on, man.
Yeah. What do you think the Mavs got up and ate today?
Crow? I don't know.
That's tough. It's such weird series. Indiana had no business getting swept, and Dallas is like, I don't know. You watch them, and it's like, how do they do it?
How do they win at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do wonder that sometimes. But I mean, if you look at the series, Minnesota could have won every single game.
I know, and they're down 3-1.
Yeah, because they just wet the bed 3 times.
And they almost did last night. You almost jinxed them.
I did. Well, no, I waited until they lost the lead before I texted you. I just go, here we go again, Minnesota.
It's flickering.
Because it happened every game where they're like, oh, Minnesota's in control. They're finally going to get one.
It's bad.
It's like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you.
They don't get enough easy baskets.
Minnesota?
Yeah.
No, they don't at all.
Like that's the
other thing. Like if Dallas, I don't know, I didn't look up their percentages last night. Dallas missed a ton of wide open threes, especially in the second half.
But you know what? They've been streaky this whole
They
series.
have, but they consistently get good looks.
Yeah.
Like always.
Well, they're not going to be like Boston, who's going to shoot 38%, and it's going to be like
Boston's disgusting.
They gave a great analogy during the broadcast the other day, though. It's like if they shoot 40%, they're not going 4 of 10. It's going to be volume to get to 40%. They're going to shoot that thing 30 sometimes, right?
Yeah.
It's like
it's going to be 12 for 30
Yeah.
or whatever that number is, right?
It's big.
Like, I think that's right, actually. Look at me.
It's
quick
that
maths.
might be on.
Yeah, like that was Minnesota. What did Dallas shoot? Dallas shot 14 for 40, which is not terrible. It's 35%, but they had a ton of open looks that they just didn't hit.
Did you say 12 of 30?
12 for 30 is 40%.
Yeah, 2 for 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen,
man.
Yeah.
Did you ever reduce fractions when you were a kid?
Yeah, that's what I was doing in my head.
You got to 2 over 5?
I got to 4 over 10. I divided them by 3.
Interesting. That is not the biggest common denominator.
No, but it's the easiest one to figure out the percentage on. I try and get to 10.
Oh.
If I'm trying to figure out a percentage, I just try and get to 10.
Good luck if it's not a...
I get in the neighborhood and I get close.
If it's not a multiple.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Jamie's probably cringing. I guess doing math again.
I don't even. That's the, not that this matters, but I'm still a little mad about it. That's the one thing on the ACT I didn't do well on was the math section.
What?
Not all Indians are good at math, Damon.
I did not. I didn't even imply that. To be honest.
No, it was because I hadn't taken real math in like 2 years by the time I had taken my ACT, because I was in advanced math and then I didn't really like it. So I took stats and then some other like nonsense math course. It's like not real math.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time I took my ACT, I didn't remember anything.
Did you see the stat last night of teams that are up 3-0? 155 and 0 all time?
I didn't see the number, but I knew
it ended in
won.
4 games 95 times. It's ended in 5 games 45 times.
We're up to 130.
It's ended in 6 games 11 times.
It's only gone to
and it's
like
gone
twice.
to 7 how many times? That would be amazing math if you just retain all 3 of those
95, 45 are at 130, 11. So 4 times it went to
4, 6, 8, 12.
That is so impressive. Good recall. Because you didn't act like you were paying attention.
I never act like I'm paying attention.
Well, that's a good point, too. It's very good.
Sometimes I am, though, every once in a while.
Only 4 times.
Yeah. And I think it didn't happen at all till recently.
Yeah.
I think the first time was pretty recently that it got to.
You want to call your shot, or you want to be like your whole life and play it safe? How many games is going?
Yeah, I'm here in the morning because I play it safe.
Who you telling?
Nobody can
Not
do
sure that shoe fits either of us.
Talk about a dice roll.
Daisuke Matsuzaka.
Yes. Came and went.
Yeah, he had one good year.
Yeah.
One good year. No, I'm not calling my shot. They're going to lose.
No, are you going to pick the games? That was the
Oh,
question.
how many games?
Good job. So much for your retention. I knew that was a flash in the pan.
Retention and attention are different.
Well, if you'd pay attention, you'd have a better shot at retention.
That's true. If I am paying attention, I remember it. But if I'm not paying attention, then it's whoop. I'm gonna
Dallas in 6.
I'm gonna say 5.
Wow. So they're out, huh?
Yeah, gentleman sweep.
That's terrible.
Much like the gentleman's sport of tennis that we're watching right now. De Jong up 3-2. Now it is 3-2. Can you see what the other numbers are?
15 apiece.
It is 15 all.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I can see.
Sort of. I can't read.
It's the green background.
It's all right. We've got some interesting stuff coming up on the show today. I think it's interesting anyway. My favorite.
I hate when you steal my thunder.
Well, whose thunder did I steal?
Because you know I was going to say maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in.
Well, I'm gonna make it interesting regardless. You can do whatever.
Hard to talk to yourself.
You can do whatever you want.
Hey, shade.
I did it the other morning. It was
Although
fine.
we've seen some people try to pull that off,
talking to themselves,
even when they have somebody there.
But that's the most impressive trick I've seen yet, up close and personal.
Much like Kaiser Sose.
We have a good show for you today. Probably, we will see what happens, but we might get to my favorite topic in the world. You know what that is?
Guessing where guys went to school.
One, I do love that. But
Me
one,
too.
Vincent Bo Jackson.
Would you stop?
There's a real thing that came up. I have to talk about it. Coming up next here on Hurrdat Sports Radio. Welcome back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. He's still trying to figure out how technology works.
Oh, Sasha, are you looking for me? Where am I?
You're off screen right
Where
now,
am
off camera.
Saying I kicked myself out.
Travis says,
I'm just trying to beat you to which Travis? We have 13 of them.
Roeder.
Oh, TR.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was explaining to me. I asked him a random question, and it took me too long.
Hey, there you
follow.
are.
That's unfortunate. If he had any 308 roots.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, my mother-in-law asked me. She maybe recognizes the last name.
I do not recognize.
I told her I would get
name.
to the bottom of it.
In the 308?
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, sometimes you need a professional's opinion. That's why I talk to myself. I'd say I'm an expert. I wouldn't say a professional.
That may be the worst thing I've ever heard.
Just go boyfriend store or be single.
He also says he had an hour of sleep before he took the ACC, got a 24, and said that's good enough for the girls. I'm going to go out with, and it definitely was.
Yeah. I mean, who's not? Why wouldn't you want to be a bare minimum kind of guy?
That
I'm totally teasing.
Total score is lower than my worst section score.
Oh, so a regular smart guy.
Did he do it?
I am very good at standardized tests.
Did I tell you about my buddy who said that Degas hit a bomb off of him?
Yeah.
Real time.
Zach Degas.
Now, this is interesting because Aaron was a senior and Degas was in 8th grade. I don't know how that happened.
Well, it's been Legion Ball.
It could have been.
They'll let him play up in Legion Ball.
That's true.
That's
I bet it was.
Yeah.
God, so
actually, it would have had to been Legion Ball because Iowa doesn't have spring baseball.
So,
or at least they didn't. I don't know if they do now.
That is very interesting, and it is Iowa. How'd you know it was Iowa? Oh, because
Degas.
Yeah, and I think Aaron was a Glenwood guy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That would be hilarious.
It's had to have been Legion Ball. That's
although
funny.
I'm sure one of the fountains has launched one off a senior before.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Cole Eaton. Some guys that played young like that.
Yeah. I still remember. I think I told this story, but Darren Ruff hit one of the furthest hit balls I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. So I told you we just saw him like a month ago.
I thought he was
out at an event. We were doing a dedication for a guy that supports Westside Athletics, and he came out there to talk. Cool, like
I've heard he's a cool dude. I haven't.
Oh, he was amazing.
To know him much.
Super regular.
Yeah.
This is a normal guy. And I think I told you off air. One of our guys, JQ or somebody asked him one of his coolest moments as a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah.
And of course, what team do you think it was against?
Dodgers.
Yeah, that'd be the Dodgers.
Yeah, of course.
19. He was a Giant. And I said I was the only guy in that room other than Ruff that knew exactly where he was going.
Yeah.
With the story.
Yeah.
Game winner in the playoffs.
He was
bomb.
You know, it's funny. Another kid that played.
You know, he's a really good football player too.
Yes.
Dude, he has records.
Yeah.
He has like manhandler point records at Westside.
No, I remember because he was. I mean,
those are hard to come by. Like you have to be a tremendous tackler.
He was. He was. I mean, he was playing the same time I was in high school, so I remember like Miller North playing against Westside.
Yeah.
And him being good.
Yeah.
Him being pretty good.
He's top 3, I think, for manhandler points.
Really?
I'm almost positive.
I thought he was going to kill somebody on Q Street.
Really?
Yeah, dude. He hit like an Oppenheimer. It was
killed everybody.
It was a.
Yes, he did, Art.
It was a.
And he's so
nuke.
unassuming.
He hit that thing. Oh my gosh! That thing was crushed.
Yeah, I remember we played up there and
because it was a tournament at Millard West. That's where.
Oh, so we were
gosh,
actually playing at Millard. I remember a lot of bombs. I remember first baseman, huge, used to manage out at Going Vertical. Oh, Matt McCoy.
Okay.
For Burke hit a ball at Orville Smith that I'm certain cleared the tennis courts. Not just the tennis courts. And Heiser hit one from Millard South that I think is probably somewhere near the water tower.
Headshot, got
out there. I mean, I've seen some bombs.
You know who hit one? Another actually local kid that
Scott Standish hit one at Seymour that I guarantee you hasn't landed yet.
Another local kid that ended up playing for the Giants, Connor Gillespie.
Yes. See Jizzle.
He in his, I think it was our senior year at Rosenblatt, so in the state championship, hit one that landed about halfway up the bleachers at Rosenblatt. And I was like, what on that thing?
I for a field that I love, I did not enjoy playing there because it was just so odd to be playing center field practically at second base.
Yeah.
We just weren't. I mean, no, we happened to get beat too, so that didn't help.
It probably didn't make the experience that much better.
No, we played them tough, 2-1.
It's all right, it happens.
A team that we had I wouldn't say owned, but we had good success against in the regular season.
That's a bummer when that happens.
And it's Burke. I mean, why not get beat by all your friends?
Yeah, of course. I mean,
could have been one of them.
That seems fine.
They beat us in football too. I was like, yeah, this really worked out for me.
So you made a terrific call there.
Such a hater. Saying if I knock this guy out, punch him dead in his soup coolers, would you be offended? Like, what happened to Ravi, man? I don't know.
Yes, that's a big bucket there.
You just snark DB to death. I'm going to go ahead and change my posture so I can relax.
Yeah, but then who would remind you to do all your Twitter stuff?
I already forgot.
I know.
What a debacle.
It's all right.
I'm mad because you like have my voice changed.
Yeah.
I'm mad because I'm back online.
Yeah.
I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it again.
No, don't do it. What are you doing? What are you doing?
What's wrong with my email?
I don't know.
I'm gonna hold the screen hostage. Everybody in this building has had my phone to fix the email.
And it's fixed for
even our manager.
It's fixed for like 12 hours.
Monica came over. She's like, didn't I just do this the other day?
Yes. Yes, she did.
Well, you did too.
You saw me do it.
Twice.
I sat here. I'm like, okay, we're good to go. And then I showed you and we were good to go. And then like you were holding the phone and it disappeared.
Yeah.
I don't even recognize what we're doing here.
I don't like your hot takes in sports. They just disappear.
No, they don't disappear. At least they don't in my mentions. People like to remember those. I don't know if you know this. Does that mean I should bring up Bo Jackson right now?
Oh, why not?
Okay.
I thought it was going to be the anonymous coach's bag, but
No,
we'll go Bo Jackson.
We'll get to that later.
We're going to win a national championship this year.
Obviously. I mean, I gave us till 2026, but whatever.
Yeah, playoffs. If you do, you look pretty smart.
I'm the only one that said it.
I'm telling you, a couple guys across the river agreed. Like they absolutely said out loud that dude was. It gives them pause for concern when he was hired.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I have heard, but what most schools don't say that.
No,
But they were ridiculously honest. That's part of their secret sauce.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
that's-
yeah.
They
put it out there.
listen to Vince Ginta. That's part of the rule, secret sauce too.
He's amazing.
Just honest.
He is.
Well, I mean, that was the
What-
whole thing. Honesty and family.
Yeah. 1 month in, I said, you better be secure if you're going to hold conversations with this dude.
Yeah. Well, and you better be secure if you're going to be as honest as he is.
Yeah.
That's the secret about people that don't tell the truth. They're insecure.
Oh, 100%.
Like you don't.
Well,
Most people don't make the connection.
100%.
But like if you're secure about who you are and what you
Mhm.
got going on, like you don't have a reason to lie about anything.
And you can do it without your hint of baggery too.
Who, me?
No, just in general. Did I say you? That's not the pronoun.
You said
I meant
without
to-
your
I just meant in
like
general.
the royal you.
No.
Like at Wimbledon.
Back to parfaits, huh?
It's berries and cream. I mean, just like show some respect for traditions. Like, come
It
on.
is. I who doesn't want strawberries and whipped cream for breakfast?
Just listen, it sounds delicious. I'm all
Was-
for it.
was-
I know
was it-
there's not enough bacon in there.
Were they out of
for you.
bacon?
I was just gonna say they had a bacon.
I mean, have you ever seen an English breakfast? Like berries and cream is the best you're gonna do.
Yeah, not to go all anti talking about Bo Jackson, but I had a package of 12, and I'm not even a Lynx guy. The price
Yeah,
was
you're
just
a
incredible.
patty guy.
The price was incredible.
Yeah,
It's like $2.98, and they were fresh.
yeah.
There were 12 in there.
I don't know.
I ate
That
eight.
thing
I
went.
ate 8 in the sitting plus 5 pieces of bacon, and I had 3 eggs with some yogurt in there. And Caleb goes, "That is a lot of protein." I'm like,
Yeah.
and guess what? I'll eat all this, and you won't even be full.
touched it.
You're eating like I'm still trying to bench 405. Like that's
And I'm not growing. I'm going the other way. I don't know what it is.
that's the kind of well, it's because you're not eating carbs, so you're like shrinking up a little bit.
So I don't have any. I guess my craving is for. I still want an Asiago cheese bagel.
Yeah.
Salmon.
Yeah.
Or a sandwich. But I'm gonna knock the flatbread out this weekend.
Get a little.
It's cottage cheese, 2 scrambled eggs, and you season it.
Mhm.
I'm gonna see if it works.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's not gonna taste like bread. It might work. But
I just need it for something to hold.
you just need a delivery system for all the other meat.
Bro, I ain't having another lettuce sandwich again. That's for sure.
Coming up.
Bo Jackson.
I'm sorry, Bo Jackson.
Unbelievable.
We will be back with more Hurrdat Sports Radio here.
Sasha just shaking her head.
On AM.
What are these guys doing?
She's
We're just talking.
almost certainly has turned it off by now. AM 590 ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. Alcaraz broke DeJong. He's serving.
Oh, here we go. Second round of the Frenchies.
Watch out, guys. Hey, you love Frenchies.
I do, actually.
More Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next. Wrapping up hour number 1 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We are live on the Pillar Exterior stage. And it's time to talk about Bo Jackson. You want to do Bo Jackson or anonymous poll? You pick.
No, let's do Bo first so you can get this out of your system.
This really is. It's not
Because
really.
I'm probably more surprised that Bronny's staying in the draft, but
I'm not surprised about that at all.
that is the most ridiculous thing I've
It's
ever.
dumb, but it was always going to happen.
If he gets, there's no way.
Somebody's gonna take a flyer on him on the second round, thinking they can get LeBron to go there. 100% that's happening.
Fudge.
100. There's gonna be 50 guys better than him that don't get drafted.
50,
However many are left, guys better than him that don't get drafted,
man.
and he's gonna get.
The guy
drafted.
was going for 4 a night at SC.
That's 2 buckets a night, DB.
You don't understand.
No, he's bad.
Would we be having this conversation? It's
If his name was Joe
it's
Smith, we would not be.
Why
having this
would you want to be the franchise to do it?
because you want his dad.
Okay, so you don't want to be a gimmick.
That's it.
Okay,
It's not a gimmick. It's a bait.
for 40-year-old
It's
LeBrizzle.
bait.
Okay,
If you think you're a liberal, like let's say you're
the
or-
Philadelphia 76ers.
sure.
You're gonna waste a second-round pick to think you can sign LeBron in free agency?
What's a better chance? You get somebody with that second round pick that actually makes you better, or drafting Bronny gets you LeBron James and he actually does make you better.
Fudge. They're not winning with him.
They're better than they are right now.
Oh, I give you that.
I'm not saying they're winning a title, but if you're Philly and you're sitting there and you go, well, we got Embiid. He's won an MVP, right? Really good.
That would be a very Philadelphia thing to do.
it's a very like stupid NBA GM thing to do, and there's a bunch of them.
That would be a very Philly thing to do,
right? You sit there, you look, you go. I mean, New York seems to be in a little bit better hands, but like 3 years ago, it's definitely something New York would have done.
New York has some paper to spend too.
I'm just saying, you sit there and you go, "Hey, I've got this second round pick."
What did you say again? You go, "Hey,
hey."
That's probably not what you'd say.
I'd be like, "Excuse me, sir." No.
Hey.
Now, how in the world did I just lose my tweet deck again? Where's Jacob Padilla when I need him?
He lives
Certainly not walking in my
I
neighborhood.
was like, he lives right behind you.
And it's not a snowball's chance in heck he's up.
You go find him. Okay.
Oh, you're gonna be doing this again.
What am I doing?
That
The tweet deck thing?
Yeah.
You know I didn't fix it last time, right?
Well, yeah, I just kept refreshing and it finally worked.
Okay, we'll give it a go.
Yeah, dial in, champ.
I'm trying.
I'm tired.
TK's blaming this on me. This doesn't have anything to do with
this
me.
is 100%.
I deflected, and then he said,
This is 100%.
"You know what happens? You have to become the company you keep."
This is 100% your fault, DB. Ooh, Alcaraz won the first set, 6-3. Squirrel.
Go ahead. Go. Hey, Bo.
DeJong has the ad early. So Ian Cummings from Pro Football Network named his top 5 greatest running back prospects of all time. So coming into the draft.
So you just were bumping around yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I skipped through it. I saw that.
Yeah. Well, you know, when I see Bo Jackson's name,
I skipped through that.
Did you?
Why'd you hold?
Because?
Were you really just scanning?
Yeah. I was.
That's interesting.
Well, I was scrolling. I wasn't.
Okay.
I saw it on internet, not
okay,
TV.
okay.
So I stopped there because I saw one Vincent Carroll Bo Jackson. Oh no, that's a different guy. Bo.
I do like VCJ.
Yeah, saw Bo Jackson's name on there, and so I was
great glasses.
I was VCJ.
Yes, they're like the rubbery but horn rim looking ones.
Yeah,
like old,
like Eric Dickerson.
Yes,
because that's your guy. You love him.
It just he doesn't give a what. I'm a VCJ guy.
Speaking of Eric Dickerson, he's also on this list of greatest running back prospects of all time. Who else do you think's on the list? There's 3 more.
So are these guys that could have been good had they played longer?
No, because some of them are good. Some of them actually were good.
Prospects, okay. I
So,
like this. I like this.
LeBron was a great prospect, and he ended up being good, right?
Peterson has to be on there.
Not on there.
That's
glaring omission.
Yeah, it's a bad list. Then.
Yes,
it's a bad list.
Well, that's because there were some names on here that I was like,
okay,
I feel like we're missing some, bud.
Bo's
on there. ED's on there. There's a guy on here I don't think is right. Like, I know there's some missing, but there's a guy on here that I'm like, and maybe I'm just not remembering it right.
So these are guys, if I'm reading this right, these are guys that you think would be prototypical types if you wanted a good running back.
Most of them fit a prototypical mold. There's one on here that his production spoke for itself.
Oh, that would be him, man.
Nope.
Good.
Not on the list.
Well, he shouldn't.
Yep. His production in college, I should say, spoke for itself. And it made him on the list.
Herschel?
Nope. Although Herschel probably should be on the list. If you're talking about prototypes.
Marshall Faulk.
Nope.
There's 5 of these guys, right?
Yep.
Huh.
I think there's some glaring omissions here.
Reggie Bush?
Nope.
Tell me.
Okay, so we've got Barry Sanders is on the list.
Okay.
Which I don't know what he was as a prospect. I don't know that he was viewed. Like, I think that maybe doing a little like retro grading there a little bit.
He was incredible in college.
I know he had the incredible year, but I just don't know because like size and stuff. I don't know what he was looked at as an NFL prospect, if that makes sense. Here's the guy that I might be wrong on.
So we have 3. We've got Bo, Barry,
Eric Dickerson.
Okay.
The one that I don't remember on, but I feel like maybe was like he ended up being a good player, but I don't know how great of a prospect he was. Edgerrin James.
My favorite.
Yeah, but like what was he as a prospect?
So Edgerrin James is, do you know this about me, right?
That you love
everybody know. Yeah. Like Edgerrin James is in my top 5 favorite backs of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Of all time. Why do I love Edge? And it wasn't even his college production.
Okay.
Because that was just okay. They didn't run the ball enough.
No.
And they had 35 backs when he was there.
Yes.
They were going to be good at some
they
point.
had Edge, they had Clinton Portis, they had Najee Davenport,
and
they
I think
had Frank Gore,
McGahee
they
was
had McGahee. Like those
Another-
5 guys
another one of my low-key
were
man crushes.
all at Miami at the same time.
Edgerrin James is incredible. In my opinion,
Mhm.
I think Edgerrin James. Now listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think he is one of the most complete, great running backs that gets no burn. I remember him
He's
actually
faster
getting.
than I remember.
I remember him getting pushback
Mhm.
when he had his gold bust in Canton.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Edgerrin James was incredible.
remember him getting booed when they drafted him.
He was so smooth and fluid for a big, strong back. I'm a huge Edgerrin James guy.
So he weighs in at so he's 6 foot 216 was
Yep.
his combine weight.
Yep.
What would you guess his 40 was?
Oh, he's a 4.48 guy.
4.38.
Yeah, he's.
That's
Edgerrin
what
Ja-
I thought he
Edgerrin
was.
James had mercs.
I thought he was closer to 4.5. That's why I wasn't sure about the like
He was-
prospect of it.
He could catch. He could block. He was unbelievable.
All right.
We were at a golf event.
Yeah.
It was a Husker alumni deal, and Coach Huey came back. He used to coach running backs at Nebraska, who was the then running backs coach at the Indianapolis Colts.
Mhm.
And he's busy asking about my family and my mom and dad, and I'm like, what's it like to coach Edgerrin James? I just want to know what it's like to coach Edgerrin
Can
James.
I have Edge's phone number?
Listen, I couldn't hit a ball 110 yards, but I could stay attached to Coach Huey's hip. And all I did for 7 of the first 9 holes was talk about Edgerrin James' work ethic. Swear to goodness. And he would say, sometimes we'd go back down to Miami with him. I just put eyeballs on him because he didn't train in the offseason with us. He trained with his Miami guys. And he said, boy, let me tell you, those guys could train.
Yeah.
We were like, that's okay. Go train with those guys.
Yeah, that's fine. That'll be good. That'll
Dude,
work.
I'm okay with Edge.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm obviously biased, but I do agree with you. I don't know if I would put him on
the
that
prospect list.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I think Herschel Walker would have to be on there at some point.
Adrian Peterson definitely should be on here.
100%.
He's one of the best prospects we've ever seen as a running back.
He's incredible.
Last guy on the list.
Give me the college.
I mean, that's going to give it away.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really? Give me his pro team.
Chargers.
LaDainian Tomlinson?
Yeah.
I kind of like the fact they're getting great players. Like, I love LT.
Yeah.
He was sensational.
Yeah. What was he?
But TCU would have given. Yeah,
overall pick?
TCU would have given it away.
Yeah, that's why I can't give you TCU.
So what he had to have gone for like a quiet 14K. Is he 13 or 14K?
We're gonna look it up right now. LaDain.
Shane, do you have a guess on how many yards LT rushed for?
Maybe
Maybe 12. Let's go 12-9.
It was a bit.
Let's go 12-9.
What was your original guess?
13.
Should start with 13.
What is it?
13,684.
What's his YPCs?
Let's 4.3.
God, he was incredible.
Yeah.
That's no big deal.
Wonder why guys can't play double-digit years anymore at running back.
You know how many receiving yards he had?
Oh, good question.
Good receiver.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I like these. I'm gonna go.
I'll take it.
He had to go 800 for at least.
Well, I'll give you a spoiler. He never cracked 800 yards
I'll go.
in a season.
I bet he had 4,100 yards receiving.
4,700 yards.
Mm.
Good back. Really good back.
He was So Bo made the list, huh?
So as a prospect, I get it. But what that means.
But how is Bo on and Herschel isn't?
Fair question. But you know what that means? If you make the greatest prospect list and then you don't have the production that the other 4 guys did,
You're a child.
Bo Jackson's a bust. You heard it here. Can't deny it. Bo Jackson, one of the biggest busts of all time. Sad for him.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
You've been holding on to that all day, haven't you?
We'll have Brian Christopherson coming up next here on Hurrdat Sports Radio. We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, kicking off hour number 2 on AM 590 ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We're here on the Pillar Exterior stage. You're making a perplexed face. What's up?
Well, it smells like when you just turn your heat on for the first time during the year.
Yeah, and
It kind of smells like that in here, but there's a nice cool.
I would say it's air, not heat for
Yeah.
sure. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, the place doesn't burn down with us in it. That would be unfortunate. Joining us.
How's your life insurance?
Probably
He
not.
almost got ran over by a sausage.
Probably not good enough.
Damon Buxton and Byron Lulla. BC, how we doing this morning, buddy?
Doing great, fellas. How are you?
I'm good.
Brian, let me ask you a question here. It's very important. Okay.
Which means it's not.
If I were to give you a top 2 or 3 prospect at their position all time in football, okay? Let's just say it's running backs, for example. And everybody agrees, one of the best prospects they've ever seen at this position. And they only played, let's say, 2.5 seasons worth of football. Never rushed for 1,000 yards. What would you call that person?
Oh, am I supposed to use the bust word?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't use the bust.
Yeah, that's the
I
word.
wouldn't use it.
Just go ahead. You can say underachieving. You can say anything, BC.
I would say it was an unfortunate, just the unfortunates of the cruelty of athletics. I
Really
guess,
disappointing.
Ravi could never be a
Bust.
lawyer because all his counsel that's going against him would say is, Your Honor, move to withdraw. Leading question. I object. Leading question, Your Honor.
I'm not going to be a litigator.
Yeah.
If anything,
Dude, they're all leading questions.
No, I think it's a fair question. Listen, if you have a top prospect of all time, only plays 38 games in any sport, I think that's disappointing.
It is disappointing. I'm not here to pat myself on the back. I've always had trouble using the bust word. I don't know, just have. Like sometimes I'll even see 24/7 Sports will have a story about like portal bust, quote unquote, guys who didn't get it done for that year. That they went to their new school, and I'm always a little cringy about it. It's just not the word I like to use. It's so just boom, man. That it stinks to have that label on you. So I'll think of other things, but yeah, it is in that territory of not making it happen when everybody hoped they would, and I guess people use the word bust for
BC, I'm just glad you avoided Ravi's primrose path that he was trying to lead you down. That's very good perception on your part, and I think that's why you're smarter than both of us.
You heard it here first. Brian Christopherson thinks Bo Jackson's a bust. Anyway, moving on, BC. Actually, you brought up something interesting with the portal there because I was having this discussion with somebody the other day where, and I do think it's sometimes unfair to use that term bust with portal guys because a lot of times we look at guys in the portal and we don't actually consider what they are. We consider what they are compared to the rest of the guys in the portal. If that makes sense. Like, for instance, I like Ohio State and Will Howard, right? Like, Will Howard's a nice quarterback, but he was one of the best quarterbacks in the portal. Is he better than the guys that Ohio State already have on their roster? I don't know, but there seems to be this sort of, like, you get fluffed up a little bit when you're one of the quote-unquote top portal guys. Like, is that going to course correct at some point? Because it's like it's getting kind of crazy.
I think it already is a little bit. I think coaching staffs are realizing, you're looking for those pieces that can maybe help round out some things on your roster. You can't necessarily count on it's just going to be that game changer because usually, not in all cases, but there's a good reason they left the previous program. There's something a little off or, something that could be better. Not always. But yeah, I do think some of the guys who are in the portal, they probably get bumped up in like how good they might be. We especially see this at like on the offensive and defensive line. I mean, those guys can, suddenly a guy who played maybe 4 or 5 games as a freshman somewhere is a commodity, in the portal because he's a big body offensive tackle. People think they can develop him, but is he really that good? Has he proven it at the college level? No. So I think there's an understanding that nothing is for sure when you go into that realm, even though I think the first year or so that it opened, everybody sometimes kind of act like it was a real lottery pick that you were getting. And I think we've learned that's not always the case.
BC, per usual, I still aspire to be like you. You had a pretty cool thing that you started on your board at 24/7 Sports. The top 24 most indispensable of 2024, right?
Yeah.
I was scrolling through, and did it catch you by surprise that the first DB listed on almost most of the top 24 lists, and he was in a lot of people's top 5, BC, was Isaac Gifford before a guy like Tommy Hill? Isaac Gifford is apparently thought very, very highly of.
Yeah. No, I think it's because people listen closely to like what, Evan Cooper in the spring, when he said, Isaac's one of the best players in college football. That's what he said.
And he runs that DB room. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
That is Gifford's DB room.
Gifford is one of those guys. I say this as a compliment. When he comes into the press room, you're a little on edge. You're a little bit like, yeah, he's like it's nicest family ever, and he's that way too. But when he's in there, like sometimes, like he's all business, and it's like you better have your second question ready to follow up to the first one, because if you give him some, garbage, he'll have 5 or 6 words which it deserves. And okay, what's next? Like no time for this tomfoolery. You bring me something that matters. And I think that mindset is very useful to him. As in that room too. It's just like, okay, let's get down to business. I'm not afraid to speak up. From what we've heard to his teammates, when something's out of line. And as you know, Damon, some guys don't have that skill where they're willing to be the quote unquote bad guy or whatever, risk it. But he puts in so much work. I think he's earned it to this point where guys are like, yeah, that guy can say what he wants because look at him. Look how he plays. Look how he goes about things. And I think it makes other guys say, I that's the standard. I gotta reach that. So I'm glad that people on our message board, which is the people have been filling it out so far, their most indispensable Huskers, are putting him high because he should be very high on the list. I haven't put together mine yet. It's always an kind of a different sort of list where you're trying to think of the depth chart when you do it, because it's not necessarily just ranking the most talented guys. It's ranking, okay, if this player were injured or was out for a week, like what's the oh crap factor throughout the state of Nebraska, of like replacing him, what's the depth chart look behind him and all that stuff. So you got to factor all those things in. But the way Gifford is as a versatile like rover, can play about anything in that back end. He should be very near the top of that list.
He may actually cover both of the things that you just said, whether it's his talent or the fact that the depth chart looks the way that it does. That I think he would rank very, 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 very high in both of those things.
Yeah.
The depth chart doesn't look great behind him with experience, especially if Nation and Jeremiah Charles don't come along as fast as they want, and Hartzog has to play some corner, right? Because between probably Young, Boodle, Charles, and Nation, you got to find a corner over there, right? Or two.
I'm really interested in that question. I think we've talked about it on here before, but with Bly Hill, of course, was going to be a newcomer himself, and he's going to be out there at some point this season. But there is going to have to be somebody, and maybe it is a veteran like Hartzog, who is at safety, who you slide back to corner. I don't know what they're thinking there, or Jeremiah Charles, but somebody who's young might have to really meet the moment, those first few weeks, and you're playing Colorado in week 2. So that's a really interesting question in the secondary. But it helps when you have a guy like Giff, obviously. And then, of course, it was interesting that you framed it with Tommy Hill on the other side of that question. Tommy Hill, you talk about a guy who changed the whole way he would be viewed on lists like this in the last half of last season. That's what he did.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Like he wouldn't even be a guy that, I'm not saying he wouldn't be ranked up there on some people's list because of his athletic talent, and people presume he might be the starter. But he's changed just the way everybody talks about him, and now he's got to live up to that. Sort of like some of the corners before him sort of became the man and stepped into that role of like, okay, you're the number one guy over there now. You got to be that every week, and so that's what his test is.
We're talking with Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7. BC, I know you said you haven't put your list together yet, but as you're kind of thinking about this, is there a guy whose name you're sort of landing on that you're maybe surprised you feel that way about?
I wouldn't say there's anybody in particular just yet. I think a guy. I'm trying to think of who people might underrate. I think Fidone could get underrated on some lists. If people go back,
that's a good call. That's a really good call for a guy that pretended he didn't know the answer.
Yeah, if people go back and look at Fidone's, like, even his stats last year, and if you just want to do it with that, he had better numbers for a first-year Husker starter than any of the guys we think about really highly that have come through this program in recent years for their first year. And that was with, suboptimal quarterback play.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, it wasn't they weren't bust by any means, but it was a little below average.
Jeff Sims was a bust. I'm sorry. Jeff Sims was a bust.
He was never good to begin with. Stop.
Anyhow, Fidone, he didn't have the best quarterback play around him, and there were probably some misses there that could have been added to his numbers. But I think if you think about what Matt Rule said, where the big thing for him is he had a full year where he played 500 snaps or whatever. That's the big win there. Like he got through that season with his body where it's like, okay, we're going now. After 2 really rough years as a college athlete, I'm just interested where that goes now with hopefully elevated quarterback play. And so he's a guy I think that could maybe be higher on the list. I don't know if there's any names you're thinking of, but
that's a good one.
No, that is a really good one. The other one I'm kind of playing around with is, like, where would you put a Teddy Prohaska, where there is some injury history, but he played most of he was fairly healthy toward the end of last year, but not a ton of depth at those tackle spots.
Yeah. Bryce would be very high, and Teddy would be high on my list too, on this particular list. And I think this is where it differentiates from just a pure, like, what have you done talent list. Not that Teddy couldn't prove himself to be like one of the most valuable Huskers or the most talented. I think he could. But as far as like most indispensable, what's behind him, it really, you have to shuffle the deck a lot. I guess I need clarity on what Corcoran's situation is completely. Like, as a guy, who's been injured, was out there in a green jersey though in the spring. But yeah, Prohaska to me could almost be top 10 in this particular list because it's, you could say it's one of the top 2 positions in football he's playing. He's got to be great at it. He's got to be durable. And if he gets hurt, that is definitely, as I say, an oh crap situation where you're like, okay, what are they doing here? Who's moving where? Not that they don't have a plan, but that would be a guy I would put on a list like this.
I'll give you another guy, and I think part of it is because we didn't think that he was very good last year. Like, I think the general perception, and he's a much better player than I think we think, and he needs to play well for Nebraska to be good defensively. Would either one of you like to take a stab at who I'm talking about?
We didn't think he was very good last year.
I think the perception is that he's just okay. Ravi?
Who did you say? I'm sorry.
I haven't said a name. I said, would either one of you two like to take a guess at who I'm talking about?
Perception was he was just okay.
Yep. Will you continue to bat 1,000 during this segment, Brian Christopherson?
Was
he's batting 900. He wouldn't say bust.
Javen Wright? Are you saying Javen Wright?
Nope. Because we think he's going to be pretty good.
MJ Sherman.
Okay.
I'm going to go Malcolm Hartzog.
Oh.
Okay.
I think we were a little down. We didn't really like him at corner. But I'm telling you, like, he had a great offseason. He's bigger, he's stronger. He only says about a handful of words a day. And I'm just telling, like, Nebraska fans, cheer your brains out for him to be good, because if he rises to the occasion and plays to what he's capable of playing, Nebraska got a chance to be good on the back end. Like, I think he's kind of an afterthought.
Yeah, he is, and it's not right.
You agree?
Because
Yeah.
he's going to be a huge dude. I mean, as far as just what he matters to this team, partly because of his versatility. And what's interesting is
he's so
Evan Cooper
stinking smart. He's incredible.
Well, Evan Cooper said in the spring he thought he made it tough on Hartzog last year because he asked him to do so many things. And so they were really, at that moment when he did the interview, locked in on him as like he was working at that safety spot. Of course, with injuries and stuff, you do wonder, does he get moved around, and is he dealing with sort of the same challenge that he had last year? But I am with that pick, Damon. He would be a guy who would definitely, I think, be top 12 in this list because he can do so many things. And also, if people remember his freshman year when he was out there on the island, he did get beat on a couple long balls. But the one thing that was always a constant was he was there. Like, he was not, I mean, he was like, it was a 50-50 jump ball, and occasionally the other guy won the fight. But he's a good cover guy. I mean, he's got that skill. And I always go back to how he was found as a recruit. Down in Mississippi, Eric Chenander actually discovered him, and all these coaches down there were like, the best player in this state is, right? It's Malcolm Hartzog. It's not even close. Like, he's just one of those guys that, like, he's a true football player. So, like, it wasn't stunning even when his first year, he's like out there all of a sudden playing. He's just got sort of that way about him. And I remember Bill Bush mentioned, like, not that he's Baron Miles, but that he's got like that same sort of like tenacity about like attacking things that Baron did, which to me is like the ultimate compliment, since Baron was one of my favorite Huskers.
Speaking of Bill Bush, let's not beat around the bush here. What's the lowest number you can put Dylan Raiola at?
That's a good one.
It's like 2 or 3,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, really, like, let's be real.
Hey, his delivery though, it's like, don't give in to him, BC. Like, say 10.
I'm a bully. I'm sorry.
Say 11. Or
TK says I can lead on cross-examination. So
the quarterback always ends up like 1 on most people's list on this thing. I know, like, if you look at last year, like, we all bought in that, like, to sort of the off-season comments, and Sims was 1. I'm sure of that. So I don't want to like resend that list out again this year. But
wasn't that accurate though? I mean, Sims was 1 in terms of importance.
I told them no.
Like,
yeah.
Like his whether for good or bad, importance doesn't have a connotation of positive or negative.
That's exactly true. The list isn't just settled on if the person actually did well with it. Sometimes it's like, okay, it was proven that you weren't quite set. Although I give Heinrich credit for being a gamer when he got in there. But I would say Ryle is like, top 2. There's no doubt about it. And that's part of that's a credit to his spring, I think. Giving people the confidence to say that without like sort of whispering it, like you do get nervous about that stuff with the first year freshman. Yeah, I think people are like, all right, I'll say it just in a normal tone. I'm not going to do it through a megaphone or anything yet like that, but that's where we're at with him. So I also think, guys, that we've done pretty well in this state about keeping it on the tracks with the hype train with him, like, as much as you can. I don't think it's been out of control, actually.
Just give it time, BC. Just give it time.
Yeah, it might happen in the fall, but so far I think we've done better than past years with a player like him. Maybe I don't know if we've had one quite like him, but players that have been thought of like in that regard, we've sometimes let it get a little far down the road, and I don't think I think we've done better than usual.
You know what? Just for the sake of it, because I kind of believe it, I may go 3 DBs ahead of Raiola.
You're just being petty now.
No, I'm not. Because listen, BC, I
So what'd you
could.
say?
So I'm gonna go Giff, Singleton, and Tommy
Tommy.
Hill, and
Yeah, Singleton.
then maybe an O lineman, and then
Mm.
maybe DR. Listen,
I don't mind that.
Robbie's waving me off because he's hard headed, but BC, given what we saw in the spring, right? If Nebraska's good in some other spots, like you could kind of see a functional quarterback. I don't know if I could see other functional DBs right now. And if that secondary isn't good, that defense can't be good. I don't know, man. I'm not just being a contrarian. I would probably slot him 4 or 5, closer to 5.
So within what you're saying, though, you're really high on the top end of the secondary, and then but you do need the depth to prove it.
I'm saying that if this team wants to be good, those guys have to be ready to go. Singleton has to stay healthy. Unless you want Nebraska to go young in a hurry, Singleton, Giff, and Buford, if you move Hartzog, have to stay healthy. Otherwise, I mean, I'm not interested in clowning my own kid on radio, but like, during a broadcast, hey man, this dude just got cooked. Like, I can't because I can't. No,
yeah, I can just imagine TB being like, this Caleb Benning kid, woof.
Get him out of there.
Listen, people talk about the bodies in that room.
Yeah.
Go look at it, a quick rundown, and just ask yourself, I think, and then go to how many players you think could play.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of those young guys down early. Like, I'm just, don't let the numbers fool you.
Singleton is also like, for some people,
he may be right there with Gifford for me.
Yeah, well, he's very high to me up there, but he's like one of those out of sight, out of mind guys to some because he wasn't out there in the spring, and you just don't hear about him a lot. But you talk about next level talent, and he was the guy who last August, before the season even started, Rule was like, he's a dude. Like that guy's like the real thing, man. And everybody's like, oh, that's interesting because he hadn't even done anything at Nebraska yet. And so I think they were right on the eval on him. And now I just hope for his sake he's ready to roll and he gets a full season because I'm with you. I think he's one of the top 5 talents easily on the roster.
I'm going to change Ravi's mind too, BC. You watch. Just give me another hour and a half of this show.
That's almost certainly not going to happen. You heard it here first. Brian Christopherson said Bo Jackson's a bust and Dylan Raiola is the GOAT. We'll talk to you again next week, BC.
All right. Yeah. Bye.
Thanks, me. More Hurrdat Sports Radio.
That's why we don't like talking to you, Robbie.
With Kevin, nobody does. With Kevin Sjuts coming up next. We are back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla, and we're brought to you by the Team Jack Foundation. Go to teamjackfoundation.org to get involved. There's a bunch of different ways you can volunteer your time. You can give your money. You can see what events are coming up as well. You can see it all on the website. You can also see what projects Team Jack Foundation is funding to find better treatments for childhood brain cancer and one day a cure. All that information, everything you need to know to get involved and be a part of the team is at teamjackfoundation.org. Joining us now is our friend, you could call him part of our team, Kevin Sjuts from 1011 News in Lincoln. Kevin, what's going on?
Not much. Good morning. Happy Wednesday to you guys.
Hey, so happy Wednesday, Kev. How are you leaving tomorrow morning?
I am not going to be going. We are sending somebody to Stillwater, and my coworker Chase Madison going to hang out with the Huskers over the next few days. And I told him you better be packing for the duration. You never know how a regional is going to play out.
Oh, aren't these the trickiest to kind of prepare for? You just the whole double eliminate. It's like you never know. Each team could have one loss, and you're like, wait, what day are we on again?
I remember when Nebraska went down to Tempe. This would have been, I'm going to guess, maybe around 2007, 8, something like that. So Nebraska went to Johnny Dorn was on the team. Great season. But they got out early, and we didn't have the flight booked until we thought they might be playing in that Monday game. So I got to hang out in Arizona for a few extra days. And, you know, there are a lot worse places to spend some extra time. And I had no work obligations. It was actually great.
I think you might enjoy spending time in Tempe more than Stillwater, yeah?
Absolutely. How many times can you go to Eskimo Joe's?
Yeah, and I get it. They've earned the right to host that region, and it's a pretty ballpark, but I just wish it was a little more defensive and pitcher friendly.
Well, yeah, that's because you want a certain result, DB. If you like baseball and if you want some, gorilla ball throwback flashbacks, maybe this is for you. I think this is a really fun regional out of all the different sites. If you're just a casual baseball fan, I would encourage somebody to go to Oklahoma City because you have good pitching and you have some guys that can mash, and that ballpark plays long. We're going to see a ton of home runs, I believe, this weekend in Stillwater.
Kevin, you had my heart at Gorilla Ball.
Oh, those are the good days, right?
That's like
that's
my sweet spot. That's my sweet spot, like late 90s, early 2000s.
That's how he turned into an FSU honk, Kevin. Don't
Marshall McDougal, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Eddie Martinez Esteve. No, I'm just like those. Get that BB core crap out of here. I just want to see rocket launchers.
Oh man, you must love the home run derby. You don't like Brett Spears. You don't like pitchers that can just shove. I'm sure you do.
No, I do. I love good pitching too, but it's even more fun when guys throwing like 102 and then you turn that thing around at 120. Perfect.
I know, and you know it's kind of exciting for Nebraska because Nebraska, the long ball came to play last week. Now it's so much a part of their offense in the Big Ten tournament. So if Josh Caron stays on the heater that he's on, with the way that Stillwater's Park plays, he could have another weekend with 3, 4, 5 home runs. It's not out of the question.
So you know what's interesting about this team, and you got me thinking, kind of joking about the duration and how long you could stay. They could throw 10 arms out there, and you're thinking, oh man, they're built for this. It's just that you just don't know which 6 of the 7 out of the 10 will be the ones that you can count on. They're all capable. You're just trying to figure out, okay, who's it going to be on this given day? It's a good problem to have, but it could still be a problem nonetheless if you're just looking for consistency.
Yeah, you know, a week ago, you would have looked at Nebraska in the NCAA regional, and you're like, I just don't know how deep they can go into the NCAA tournament because of the pitching. And now after the way the Big Ten tournament played out, you're like, I think they can go deep because of the pitching. It's wild because all of a sudden, Drew Christo pitches the game of his life, and Will Walsh does the Will Walsh Big Ten tournament thing all over again. And then Brockett, after the I don't want to say he pitched poorly in his Big Ten tournament opener. It's just he got pulled after 3 innings.
Yeah.
So you got to see like how he can operate, knowing that is his game, and he shoved on Sunday, and it was exciting. And the craziest thing out of all of that,
still got Caleb Clark.
Caleb. You've got so many options now, and you feel good about them. And despite all the success Nebraska had on the mound, you guys realize who threw the fastest pitch on Nebraska's staff at the Big Ten tournament? It was Ty Horn. It's not even one of the guys that we were just talking about. And of course, Mason McConaughey and Brett Sears need to be a part of the pitching conversation as well. So they have options, and that if they can repeat what they did in Omaha last week, there's a chance that they could, if they stay hot at the plate, they could make a run at the CWS.
Yeah, it's just interesting how and it's always important. So this isn't like my water's wet moment, but just imagine what the call to arms that they have if they can get the first game. Like if you could just get into the winner's half after Florida, like, gosh, you have a boatload of options.
You do. And of course, they're going to throw Sears on Friday. And DB, let's just play out your scenario. If they win on Friday, they beat Florida, which is going to be tough. Even if you lose on Saturday against Oklahoma State, presuming it's Oklahoma State, with McConaughey, now for Game 3, here's my intrigue. Who are you going to throw on Game 3 with the season on the line? Do you go with Brockett? Do you go with Will Walsh? you go through Christo. Like now, it's not crystal clear, and you know what you're getting 1 and 2, but after that, given what that staff just did, and I think that I said after the Big Ten tournament, the MVP of the tournament, you can say Karen, you could say Gabe Swanson, it's Rob Childress in my opinion. The fact that he got those other pitchers so prepped and dialed in and ready to maximize in the big moment. I think Nebraska's pitching coach truly was the most important piece of the puzzle to winning the Big Ten tournament.
You're right there in the Cap City. What was your feel in your sphere of influence? Were you hearing, at the halfway point of this season that, people were looking at the pitching numbers and comparing Childress to Christie, and you got kind of the snarky comments. Were you hearing any of that about did Nebraska staff really make an upgrade?
Not so much. Of course, there was some skepticism and some negativity. It wasn't necessarily directed at Rob Childress. It was more at Will Bolt. I think people were frustrated with his approach toward some of the midweek games, and there's just some unrest. You want the team to win every game, and in baseball, you don't win every game. It was the nature of some of those losses. They let some games get away late in the ninth inning. And even if you look at it right now, the Huskers entered the NCAA tournament with a 39-20 record. And if you maximize some of those late game moments, you're probably looking at 42, 43, maybe up to 45 wins this season.
Kevin,
that's incredible.
Just to think about it really is.
You gave away 6.
Yeah. Kevin, when you're talking about Rob Childress, how much credit do you have to give him for these different pieces in the pitching staff looking the way they do at the right time versus how much of it do you kind of just chalk up to getting hot, kind of getting a little bit lucky? Like, how much do you think of it's intentional on Rob Childress's part versus guys just kind of finding it?
I think a lot of it is on Rob Childress, just because if you look at his track record, he knows how to push the right buttons. He's had success as an assistant and as a head coach in the postseason. So I think that he knows the course of the season and when to challenge his guys, when to let some things slide, and how to make sure that they stay mentally strong throughout the year. I think the one exception would be Will Walsh. I think Will Walsh just kind of, he had the self-confidence taking the mound in an elimination game at the Big Ten tournament in Omaha and going, I can do this. And if you know Will a little bit, he's just kind of got a spirit about him that lends itself to believe that, he has a lot of confidence in himself, and that goes for him offensively and on the mound. So I give a lot of Will's credit to himself, just for knowing that, it was a big moment and it didn't eat him up, and he knew he could be successful Saturday morning.
That is the one and only Kevin Sjuts, 1011 News in Lincoln. Enjoy your time not being in Stillwater. I think that's about the best thing I could wish for you this week.
Well, I got youth baseball in Des Moines tonight, this weekend, and a son's birthday, and I can't miss that. So I will be watching just like
we're in the
everyone
same gang.
else.
Hey, that was what first drew me to you anyway, like years ago on social media. That dad piece, man. I don't know what happens behind the scenes, but publicly you got it down pat, buddy. It's pretty cool to watch.
I don't have it down pat. I try my best, but I do know my family always comes first.
Yeah, my man.
I think
Thanks,
I'd rather
Kev.
be in Stillwater. Kevin, have a good week. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, you guys do well.
We've got more Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
Ravi here for the kids.
Hard pass. Welcome back. Wrapping up hour number 2 on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage. We're brought to you by Union Omaha. Make sure you get out to unionomaha.com to get your tickets for tonight's match. Today, Wednesday 29th, finally here for the USL Cup match against the Central Valley Fuego FC. One Means All Community Night presented by Bellevue University. That is tonight. Make sure you get to unionomaha.com for your tickets. That's a 6:30 p.m. start at Werner Park. DB.
What?
So Dylan Rail is your number 1.
No, he's not.
Is there something higher than number 1? Oh, he's so important he doesn't even have to be on the list.
Yeah. I can't believe how you asked BC that question.
I thought it was.
All right, let's cut through let's not beat around the bush.
Did you like that transition? He was talking about Bill Bush.
It was one of your better ones.
Thank you. You know,
it was one of your better ones. It's almost like you're doing this a while now.
Usually I'm just like, BC, what do you think about?
Yeah, no good segue, but no, I'm serious. I would probably have him 4 or 5.
Well, so here's my argument against you.
Yeah.
Okay. Who'd you bring up? Deshaun Singleton?
Yeah. But even though this is the most long-winded, weird, nonsensical analogy ever.
Okay.
But I'm gonna let you make it just so I can chew you up and spit you out.
That's fine.
So tread lightly.
Let's just not talk about the fact off air. You said it was a good point, but that's fair.
That's because I wanted you to bring it up on air so I could annihilate you.
Oh, so you're a liar.
Setting you up. No, I don't know. I'm going to entertain it. Maybe if you say it a little slower, I can comprehend it.
You need me to talk slow for you?
Okay.
Shane.
That's why I wish you were on that 360 mower out there. And
that dude is just whipping around.
I would like to see you try it.
I 100% can't do that. I would fall off.
Yeah, I tried something like that a long time ago.
That mower would eat my arm. Those 0-turn deals like the deck ones freak me out a little bit.
Listen, I don't even do those anymore. I tried a Segway once and I'll never.
No, I'm not interested in that at all. That seems terrible.
Yep, didn't seem that hard when I first got on, but
you know the guy that invented a Segway died riding a Segway? That's a real story.
Wow, I almost did.
That's a real thing. So if like he can't even figure it out, like who am I?
It sounds like a
I mean, he is whipping that thing.
He is.
And his partner in crime out there that's mowing, he's a big dude too. It's over here.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with those things. If I ever did like a riding, I'd do the tractor style. I'm not doing one of the deck deals.
Well, do you know I got a dude in my neighborhood with a riding mower? We don't even have any yards that big.
My yard's pretty good size. It's not like big enough that I need it, but it's big enough where I'm annoyed that I don't have one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like right kind of that middle, I don't know, that middle ground.
Kind of where you live your life.
Yeah, you know me.
Well,
I never take a stance on anything.
Not this one, that's for sure.
One of the guys you brought up was Deshaun Singleton, right?
Of the top 24
of the guys you would put ahead of Raiola.
Yeah,
you put Deshaun Singleton.
Yes, I would.
Deshaun Singleton got hurt last year, right?
Yeah.
The defense was still pretty good last year, right?
Yeah.
Why did that happen? Why were they able to? No, I'm not. Why were they able to overcome it?
Easy.
Yeah.
They had Phelan Sanford and they had Omar Brown.
Okay. Going into last year, if you were told you had to rely, first of all, we weren't sure about Deshaun Singleton except for that Rule told us he was good, right?
Yeah.
We hadn't seen him play.
Yeah.
If you were going into last year and you're like, okay, this guy that Rule says can play, okay, let's trust Rule.
I don't see the relevance though, because I have new information.
We're not there yet.
My answer's still gonna be the same.
You have new information about Deshaun Singleton, right?
Yeah.
You don't have any information about the guys playing behind Deshaun Singleton.
Correct.
Same situation we were in with Omar Brown and Phelan Sanford last year.
But I knew Phelan Sanford and Omar Brown had played though, buddy.
Some.
Enough where it's more than what I'm dealing with this year.
For sure. But if Evan Cooper was able to develop Omar Brown and Phelan Sanford to the point where not only could you survive the loss of Deshaun Singleton, but they're in NFL camps.
Sure.
Why are we just assuming
I'm not
that level of development hasn't?
So my assumption,
okay,
this is where your style of questioning gets you in trouble. My level of assumption is significantly less than the one that you have about Dylan Raiola compared to what you saw behind him at the spring game. So if I just use just basic deductive reasoning and I look at the quarterback play in its totality in the spring game, I saw a guy that I clearly thought was the best, but I did not see a guy that I didn't feel was serviceable.
So your argument against Raiola.
Let me finish.
Okay.
So that's the quarterback spot. So your assumption of the prowess of where he belongs on that pecking order is based on, is it compared to the talent behind him, or like what are you basing that on? That's number one. That's question. That's what's the answer to that question?
What I'm basing it on?
Yeah. That it's top 3 or 4.
I'm basing it on what I project him to be.
Okay. Right. So let's fast forward.
Causing the gap between him and number 1 and number 2.
Yeah. Let's fast forward.
Okay.
Who is making a less of an assumption on the 3 guys that I said? Hill, Deshaun Singleton, or Isaac Gifford? Which one takes less of a leap of faith that they play well? Those 3 guys or your quarterback?
Those 3 guys.
Right. Now, let's see what happened behind them. Did you like how Harburg played?
In the spring, I did, yes.
Okay. Did you like how Danny Kaelin played?
In the spring, yes.
Okay. Who were they completing all those long passes on in the spring game?
The defensive backs.
Okay. That's easily where I get my case made, that I'll take the secondary guys that I named ahead of the quarterback.
Let me make a different argument for you.
Okay. Are you going to move the goalpost, or is this?
No, I'm just
because what I would expect for you to say is, all right, that makes perfectly good sense. I'm glad you walked me through that exercise.
Yeah, well, that's a terrible radio show. Why would I do that?
Shane, once a week I say this, I'm going to really need you to get this guy.
Well, maybe.
Like what? Okay, what do you want to talk about now?
All right.
I really got to be careful in what I say
fine.
about that. So.
No,
okay.
So I think there is a complicating factor with the defensive back play in the spring game. And that's the fact that almost none of their good defensive linemen were playing, or none of their top defensive linemen were playing.
Okay.
What's the best friend of a defensive back?
A good pass rush.
Good pass rush, right?
Yeah.
So Cam Lenhart's not playing.
Yeah.
Ty Robinson's not playing. Nash Outmarker's not playing.
You saw that last year because you saw Nebraska with all those sacks, or what?
Okay, but you think the second team is going to be better?
No, what I'm saying is if you're making that linear of a jump, you're still going against first and 1.5 year quarterbacks.
Okay.
And young wide receivers.
My point is, the defensive backs, it's harder to take in a vacuum when you know for a fact that basically none of your starters on D-line or pass rush or anything, because we saw, like, listen, I understand 32 sacks is not a bad number. Rule wants it at 40, right? You're knocking on that door. You're in the neighborhood. That's less than one extra sack a game.
Yeah.
Right? So you're
although what'd you have against Colorado? 10?
Like 8. So, yeah, that was disproportionate, but that's kind of how it always is.
Doesn't have to be.
It usually
and don't let data get in the way of a good made up discussion.
I mean, it's
almost a third of their sacks came in 2 games.
You're gonna make me look up how many sacks they had against Colorado.
It was for sure 8.
I think they had 8 against Colorado. Okay, but you saw
a quarter. That's not a third. 8 divided by 32 is 4.
Yeah,
4, 6, 8, 12.
Nope. Not that one, Troy. Yogurt man.
You really don't like yogurt, do you?
No, I really don't. It's a consistency issue.
I'm telling you, put in your scrambled eggs.
Don't like it. Don't like the texture.
Human cheat code.
I've heard of people who put like cottage cheese in their scrambled eggs.
I do both.
I don't like
yogurt's easier for me to use with a fork.
I don't like cottage cheese
when I beat it. I don't either. I don't either. But you'll never know.
I mean, I'll know in my heart.
We'll just see where it goes.
Dude, you're too much.
In my somebody would have to.
This guy just said in my heart.
We simply
what a
can't
straight face. Oh no, in my heart. Oh my
Selfish.
I will. It's hard to get over. No, my point is, you saw guys that had the ability to put and listen. So you're talking about logical arguments here. We're going to pretend.
That's usually what I like to do.
Yeah.
Pretty logical.
Yeah. So you were just going to pretend. We're just going to pretend like we all understand that sacks are the only measure of pressuring the quarterback.
No, I'm not.
How many times have we seen Nash back there pressure the quarterback, didn't finish with a sack, force him out of the pocket?
I'm well aware.
Okay.
Did you see some quarterbacks move out of the pocket on Saturday?
We sure did.
Okay. Or however many Saturdays ago that
Whatever
was.
day that was. That's fine.
They're
also wearing a green jersey. It's hard to tell.
That should be their advantage, though.
To the quarterback's advantage, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But here's the point, though.
Yeah.
If you're just logistically trying to make a case, I don't have to wish up best scenario near as much as I think you have to make for an offensive player in this system.
Oh, I don't know if that's true.
Okay. Pick it apart.
I like my
I'm here all day.
I like my offensive line.
Okay, more than you like your D line?
No, I like them about the same.
Okay.
I think they're about the same.
Okay.
There's experience pieces that I like. There's some young guys I need to step up.
How about experience between the position groups that we're talking about, the DBs versus the quarterback? Who has the advantage?
The DBs.
Okay.
Because they've
how about like proof of concept? Let's just go offense versus defense. Who has the advantage?
Defense is a better proof of concept.
Okay. All right.
So
I'm
does
here
that not mean they have more leeway
I'm here
on
all,
any individual?
I'm here all day.
Does that not mean the
No,
defense has more
because
leeway on any individual?
those guys are really, really good. And believe me, nobody, I won't say nobody, he has a ton of fans.
Yeah.
Like, Dylan's got a chance to be pretty special.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if I had to go out and I'm not going to play with Singleton or Gifford, I'd rather know, or Rayola, I'd rather know that Harburg is the backup right now. That's what I'm telling you.
So you're also making an assumption that what we saw in the spring game from Harburg is real and what we saw last year is gone.
I also know that the fact is that he won 5 games last year.
He did win 5 games last year, and that's all. Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Radio, kicking off hour number 3 here on AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln. That's DB staring at me like a weirdo. I'm Ravi Lulla. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and we're brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook. Both the casino in Lincoln or Horseman's Park in Omaha. Those are the best places in Nebraska to place your sports bets. Whether you're betting on my guy Carlos Alcaraz here in the French Open.
You don't know Carlos, therefore he's not your guy.
He's vicariously my guy.
All right.
Kind
of like you eating that candy?
Yeah, it's weird, man. You're looking at me all weird, made me uncomfortable. We've got.
Just want to hear about Warhorse. I'm sorry.
We've got NFL and then, or not NFL, NBA and NHL playoffs. You got me all flustered because you're.
Am I really creeping you
You're
out?
staring at me while eating candy. Eat the candy. You can bet on nearly every major sporting event at Warhorse Sportsbook. But if you have any questions, go to warhorsecasino.com/sportsbook to get a full list of details and house rules. That's Warhorse Sportsbook. No bets, no glory.
I wish we got along because then we could actually have a functional show.
Man, so DB, here's these are these candies so DB goes out to his car in the middle of a break here.
Yes.
And brings me back these candies and hands them to me.
Yes.
And I go, okay, what are these? And he goes, hey, I don't really eat candy anymore. I bought these like right before I stopped eating candy. Like, will you eat them? And I was like, sure. And then you're like staring at me, like waiting for me to eat them. And I'm like, oh, you meant like now. I was like, okay.
You make it sound so creepy, but I'm trying to stop you when you tell a lie.
Have I told a lie yet?
Kind of not, but it's so
kind of not.
You just left out some details.
What details did I leave out?
It's a spectacular candy.
That doesn't change the dynamics of you and me in this situation.
So I just didn't want them to go to waste.
Fair.
And so I was like,
at what part does it necessitate you needing to watch me eat the candy?
I just wanted to see if you have as much pretend enjoyment as I would. Is that weird? Okay.
Kind of.
They are spectacular.
It's good. It's good candy.
And I can't remember how Severe told me to say them. I think it's Haribos.
I say Haribo. I don't know. If you want like a really, like if you're in a bad mood and you want a really good laugh, go to Amazon, look up Haribo sugar-free gummy bears, look up the reviews. Apparently, the sugar-free additive that they use in Haribo gummy bears gives people violent diarrhea.
Really?
And they describe
that used to be in potato chips too. Was it the Olean?
It's a different thing, but similar results. I just remember reading on a bag of potato chips that it could lead to anal leakage, and I was like, pass.
That's not the term they use.
100% is.
That's not even.
I swear to you. I'm going to look up an Olean package here. And
do you remember that? Didn't they stop using Olean?
Yeah, because it caused anal leakage.
No,
that's the word that I'm going to look it up.
They really used the term leakage.
Yep.
Hey, the heck with the other word. Like, what is wrong with you? That's the only word you had a problem with?
It's a long word. I don't like that word.
Leakage. What the? It's also like a really gross way to describe a bowel movement.
I don't
leakage.
Listen.
Anyway, so if you're ever in a bad mood, go.
Shane, we're done.
Go look. I thought that was pretty funny, Shane.
No,
freaking bats.
I'm out. Like,
go look up Haribo sugar-free gummy bears and read the reviews.
Working my life
Because
away. I wish I could.
People describe in the funniest terms the wreckage that it causes if you eat too many of them. Speaking of wreckage that he causes, anytime he interacts with the show, we've got the one and only Amazing Daniel on the line right now in his last morning in Omaha. Amazing Daniel, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, that's quite the lead-in. Thanks for the topic to follow.
What's up, D?
Not too much. Just getting ready to leave town tomorrow, so I thought I'd touch base one more time. I'm sorry, Ravi. Can I continue, or are we out of time?
No. Okay. Good to go. You haven't talked about Bo Jackson yet, so we're okay.
No, first I'll start with you, Ravi. I just want to say, you and I have some things in common, in that you have had a kind of corporate careers and trying to pursue some other creative interests outside that. So I really admire the way you grabbed that and been able to have success with that. I don't know you really well, but I know you well enough to know you're a good dude. So it makes me really happy.
Do you know what I thought you were going to say, D? I thought you were going to say we're both kind of stubborn.
Well, there's a little of that.
No. Daniel, I appreciate that. That's very kind.
You're welcome. We talked about that kind of pessimism thing, and it made me think of one of my favorite quotes by a guy named Cornell West, if you're familiar. He said, kind of funny, it works for me as a sports fan for Nebraska too. It says, I cannot be an optimist, but I'm a prisoner of hope. And so that's not at all what he was talking about, but it works there. So,
hey, D, do you think over time I could grow my hair out like Cornell West?
That would be fantastic.
Once I get old enough to not really care, I may try that, because I always wondered how he could pull that off.
Looks like a lot of work to me, but I don't know. I can't really. Our hair is a little different. I'm not sure how that works, but and I'll transition that into one of the things I like about this station, about this show. I'm drawn to people that have different backgrounds from me, whether that's age or ethnicity or geography, or it's why I like listening to Jacob and Avery and Anna and you guys. It's we've had some debates and things like that over time, but it's always about trying to learn from each other, or at least get a different perspective. You've set me straight on a few things for sure. I don't know if I've returned that at all. But
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate you.
It's never been about trying to convince each other we're right and all those things. And I think the reason you kind of let me in a little bit was that I immediately saw you more than football, and wanted to appreciate your perspectives on
100%.
child raising and all those things, and just life philosophy in general. And again, not always coming from the same place, but it seems like we always kind of land in the same general area of goodness. So I just wanted to thank you guys for all that. These shows, as some people know, are more than about sports. I think some people that never played the games, I was a JV star myself, nothing beyond that, but just even playing sports, that you understand how those things all tie together, and how you learn from them and how you can apply them to life. So one other thing I just wanted to mention really quick, my father passed away in December, and he was a season ticket holder for Nebraska baseball. So I'm appreciating the irony right now that they pretty much sucked the whole 5 or 6 years that he was a season ticket holder there, and now they seem to have it together. So if you're somebody that thinks about the beyond and all that, then you probably have a little appreciation for what might be going on there. So paying more attention to them.
2 quick things, buddy. I appreciate you. Are you taking your bike?
I had to sell the bike because it was starting to get too old to get parts for, so I'm getting a new one down there.
And what are you gonna do with your band?
So we played our last show, and we have we just put our last album out too, and then I've got my own record coming out, and my band will stay here. I'll probably get a new band down there, but I've already booked about a dozen shows down there because like Ravi, knows you got to hustle for all that stuff. Nobody hands it to you, so you got to send 1,000 emails and all that stuff. It's been a challenge, but kind of fun.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you. Tell your lovely wife hello, and you can always get us on the stream.
That's right.
I will. I'm sure I'll be around. I was going to say it'll be different for me, and maybe not that much for you guys, but just in case, how things are. You plan it one way, but it might not work out the same way when you're down there.
I expect to see you in the chat still, and my parting gift to you as you leave Omaha is this: Ben Roethlisberger is an elite quarterback.
There we go.
I appreciate that. All right, thank you.
Thanks, D.
That's amazing, Daniel.
You finally come to your senses.
I care about you.
No, I never didn't think he was. It's just I always like to fight him on it.
It used to get under my skin.
Oh yeah, that's why I do it. It's hilarious.
I have a different word for it. I'm still mad at Shane, but we're gonna come in tomorrow. And
why are you mad at me?
I'm not gonna do my usual. I greet him the same way every morning, and they're pleasant. I'm not. He's on punishment.
Who, Shano?
Oh yeah.
Well, you don't like the word leakage?
I gave you a heads up about the road debris today. I mean, you know, you got to give me a
Dude,
little
you
leeway.
made it seem like there was this giant woolly mammoth
I know,
blocking
yes.
traffic coming off the interstate.
I thought I was going to be late to work because I thought I was going to be backed up like the entire exit ramp. And that thing was, I mean, listen, maybe when Shane drove by, it was more put together. By the time I got there wasn't a lot left of him.
So I'm just going to read the text.
That thing wet.
And
it was wet.
When you turn off a Giles Road on the interstate, there's a rather large dead deer in the outside lane just before the bridge.
Oh, come on, Shane.
Did you even know what that animal was? It looked like it had been eaten by a lion already, and we're not even in the safari.
Yeah.
Like, Shane, it was no big deal.
I saw it at least a half hour, 40 minutes before you saw it.
So would the buzzards get to it in that time?
They might have.
I thought it looked like it got hit by another car or something. It kind of, broke up.
I appreciate you thinking of
a
us.
little bit. You know, I do. I appreciated the, So they changed the Olean label.
Did they?
Yeah.
Are you back to that? Or are you on Shane?
No.
Delay.
Tony chimes in. He goes, so my wife is I assume registered dietitian, RD.
TG? What
yeah.
Tony? Okay.
And played me a podcast recently where the whole Alestra, which was the brand name of the Olean, was really just a panic due to the warning and label. They pulled it all at the time, but have since added it back into products with no reported issues without labeling. So there was probably one of those things where it's like a original. They may have reformulated a little bit too, but the label that I found says the Olestra may cause abdominal cramping and loose stools.
It's much better. Much better.
Yeah, I think they changed it because
it's much better than leakage.
People didn't like the word leakage, like Shane. It bothered them.
Do you know one of Daniel's greatest gifts? And I've known him for it's double-digit years. He like the last year of his show contributions, and there have been several. Was one of the best points he ever made, and it helps us greatly on this show.
What's that?
Because we offer different opinions. He just reminded us that it's important to focus on what it is the actual discussion is about, so we're talking about the same thing, right? Like, and he said it with such clarity.
Yeah,
because I think that was maybe the generational quarterback talk or something like that.
Oh,
he's like,
thing?
hey, you guys have Trevor
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
With Trevor Lawrence. Okay.
He's like, hey, you guys have to remember, this often happens in my adulthood. Like, we need to reset what it is.
Yeah, you have to define the argument.
Which
is what I try and do all the time. You always tell me I'm moving the goalpost.
That's going to stick in your craw, isn't it?
Yeah, it does, because I don't do that.
I haven't, I try to not hurt your feelings.
The only time I do that,
but you know what? You've got a couple of friends coming across as kind of this bully that doesn't win a lot of arguments. Because I think Tony is very much a Ravi supporter, because Tony may be an empath, and I think he often feels bad for you.
No,
Tony made that up. I don't know where
he defends you quite a bit.
That's because you're a bully.
It's not true. It's not true. I actually,
my eyes just watering over. I don't just continue. It's not a big deal.
I actually get ran over quite a bit.
I don't think that's true. I think
matter of fact, I had somebody in my household say to me with a deadpan straight face in the kitchen. I'm not going to use the pronoun. They go,
"Are you kidding me?
Why do you have to be such a baby? Have you been a baby your whole life?" I was like, huh.
But you're the youngest, though, right?
Was that?
I'm not going to say.
Was that before or after Zoe called you bro?
I was like, how often do you marry adolescents? Not to give it away who said it.
Caleb.
Yeah, but still,
No, I'm not a bully. I'm very composed.
No, I bully you way more than you bully me.
It's out of control.
It's aggressive.
And sometimes
I don't think people realize it.
Sometimes I just go sit in my. Do you ever wonder what takes me so long to pull out? Sometimes I just play music.
You just need a minute.
I'm dead serious. I just will go in there and play music. I'm like, I don't know whether to.
Are you just
go run a lap? Go run my head into this building? I just listen.
You know, the funniest thing about that is you love me. Like off air.
It's very unfortunate.
It's like people don't realize. I think people think you actually get mad at me.
It's very unfortunate.
As soon as
and I think the thing I'm most upset about is I don't know how you got in there.
You're mad.
That's what I'm really mad about.
I'm very disarming, and then you're like, wait, do I even like this guy?
It's not a lot of nice components. Just saying.
I think you just like the man bun.
Who asked me the other day if you have it up all the time?
No, yeah. It looks terrible down.
No, you should try that one.
No, it looks awful.
A couple times in our former life, you didn't have it up in the mornings.
No, not when it was long like this.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What about
I've had it when it was shorter and I kind of did I styled it. But when it's been this long, I always keep it up.
Oh, all right.
I don't know if you remember, I used to shave my head.
No, I know. I remember.
Yeah.
How's the candy?
I've only had one so far because you're kind of like you're Hannibal Lecter and eyeballing me over here.
Would you like a nice Chianti?
Yeah, I was like, I do enjoy a good wine.
Dude, just out of control.
What? Although I don't love reds. I like a sweet red and a dry white.
I don't even know if I want to get into this, but I'm a Merlot guy.
Oh, okay.
I like Merlot and I like Moscato.
Oh, Moscato's pretty good. You gotta be careful. Sometimes it gets too sweet.
Oh, that's the whole intent.
Yeah, I don't love like a super sweet wine.
Yeah, but Merlot
yeah.
Yep, it's my good.
So that's why I like a sweet red because you like have the earthiness to kind of balance it out a little bit, so it's not overwhelming.
Don't say the A word ever again.
No, I was going to say that makes sense since you don't like sweet meat. That you would probably like something else that's sweet, like wine or something.
He doesn't like sweet meat. That's the thing.
I don't. Somebody was asking me for a recipe yesterday, and I was like, "Hey, just for the record, I don't use the honey, but if you do, just know that because of the sugars, it will char in a hurry."
Yeah, I
take honey.
Yeah,
like I have the big unmatched.
Yeah, for your allergies.
No.
Oh,
no. Is that a thing?
Yeah. If you get local honey because of the pollen from the bees, it's supposed to help with your allergies.
I get the big whatever one that you get at
Freaking bats.
Costco that like hardens after like 6 days, and you have to reheat it every time you want to use it.
Yep.
I just spoon it out and I take it, and I full-fledged 4-year-old plug my nose.
You don't like honey?
Oh, it's awful.
Honey's so good.
It's
like drizzle it on some
You're
toast.
dang right.
It's not a chance. That's
Love
true.
some toast.
It's not a chance. I'm a syrup guy. You know, if I were going to
doing like a pancake situation,
I hate pancakes.
You're a waffle.
Yes.
What's wrong?
Don't tell me they're the same.
No, they're not. They're not the same. They're very different.
Okay.
You're just very particular. It's not something I know anything about.
Pot meat kettle.
I'm not black.
Okay.
Certainly, it's warming up here in the.
Some people don't know that I'm Indian, though.
Yeah. Well, you thought she was Mexican.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I did.
Wait, she's not?
I'm actually glad that I missed that conversation.
Anyway. I asked Alexa a question about why she doesn't use my name. And she was trying to find profiles.
Mm-hmm.
And she asked me what my first name was, and she started going into you, me, and 23, and I was like, nope, that got me once. Not going back down that road. That's for sure.
Those are some things we don't want to know.
She never greets me by name, but everybody else in the house, she's like, oh, hello, such and such. Hello, such and
Probably
such.
because she knows you don't like going first name, last name.
God, I hate you. You remind me a lot of watching Rudy Gobert. Always falling down and trying to explain what happened.
That's the meanest thing you could say to me. That I remind you of Rudy Gobert.
Don't you love Gobert?
No.
You've got to be a Gobert guy.
How?
I don't know.
In what world would I be a Gobert guy?
Because he's functional in spite of how it looks. I figured you'd gravitate towards that.
No.
You're a bottom line guy?
No, but I like offense. I also what?
You just looked at me like dummy.
You know I will trade, especially in basketball, I will trade offensive prowess for defensive prowess every day. Get out of here with guys that can't play offense.
Now that you've had a chance to think about it, can I get a prediction?
On what?
Game. So
I told you 5.
Okay.
Gentlemen sweep.
They're out in 5. Shane, do you know enough about sports? He's still giddy from last night with the. Do you know the Panthers could have given? You talk about weird series.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey is just like the Pacers and Celtics, where it's like Florida, the Rangers could be goose egg up to this point.
Yeah,
but
it's the same thing in the Mavs.
It's
the same thing in
incredible.
the Mavs Timberwolves series.
No, I agree with you.
The Timberwolves,
It shouldn't be 3-1.
no, it very easily could be 3-1 the other way.
Well, in hockey, you definitely don't want that. You don't want as far as a gap there, and you're not going to necessarily get that because they may start the.
I mean, Florida has just gone through stretches of an onslaught.
But I'm just saying you don't necessarily want a gap
it's
from the next
tied.
time that you play.
Yeah.
So
it's
you
bumpy.
kind of got to win and lose some games to even it out.
What are you talking about? I have no
Okay, so like in the first round, the Avs like if you sweep in the
always
first
goes back
round,
to the
if you
Avs.
sweep in the first round, then you got an extra 3, 4, 5 days there. Then you come back slow and you're off your game.
The whole rest versus rust
I'm just
thing.
saying you got to win some, you got to lose some, and sometimes it just evens out better that way.
I don't think anybody's intentionally losing to extend series, so they don't
Probably
have
not,
rest.
but I mean, it just works out better when it happens that way.
So McKinnon was like, "Golly, man, open ice. Ooh, on this shorty, I think I'm going wide left on purpose.
Clank.
I don't want any rest.
I don't think that's.
I don't
think that's it.
Well, he probably doesn't want any leakage either, but
Nobody does. Nobody does. Got to call a
idiot.
plumber, or a
an
proctologist. I forget which one.
Such an idiot.
Bro, I love you, Damon.
The anonymous Big Ten coaches poll came out.
God, isn't this a riot?
It's all right.
I think it's funny.
Which part do you think is funny?
Like that they're actually, so they're like, hey, do you want to go on record? We won't use your name, but you can say this.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
So, and it's annual.
Yeah. I think the
would
NBA,
would you think that that's fun?
if I was a coach?
Yeah.
I would think it was fun, but I think they're more willing to talk if you're not going to put their name on it.
Okay.
It's like Twitter, right?
Oh, 100%.
Like, people feel empowered when you don't have to see their name or face.
Mm.
That's why you and me are the real heroes. They see us every morning. They get
Every day I leave here, I'm just like, I have no idea.
I don't even recognize what we're doing here.
And I truly actually think I'm the only sane one of the bunch, which is scary.
Yeah, right.
Actually, it's not that funny, Coach, really.
What's happening?
If we're grading on a curve, maybe, but like, I feel like sanity is a binary state. Either you are or you're not. Just because you're more sane than the rest of us doesn't mean you're sane.
That's a beautiful question.
Like, it's being it's like last year. Okay, this is a great example. Heinrich Harburg was the best quarterback in a bad group. Didn't mean he was a good quarterback last year. Means he was the best of a bad group. Now, he might be a good quarterback this year. I don't know. He looked better in the spring.
I still can't believe you like low-key slid in there. You bought the Jeff Sims thing. I don't even think the staff bought the Jeff Sims thing.
Well, I didn't say it. No, BC slid in.
No, don't throw BC under the bus.
No, he said when did I say I bought into Jeff Sims?
The level of being the most important, I guess, is not the same as like being good.
Yeah.
But we had no frame of reference, because I'm going back to your original question about the portal.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you're just because you're the most highly coveted coming out of the portal, does that really make you?
Yeah, that's the
good?
exact point I'm making. Like, just because you're the best of a bunch doesn't mean you're good. It just means the rest of them are worse than you.
Will Howard has a significantly better track record.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Will Howard is much better than Jeff Sims ever was.
Okay.
My point with Jeff Sims was he was going to be vitally important, positive or negative.
There is a part of me that hopes he goes down to the land of the sun and just tears it up.
Balls out.
Yeah. I'd like to see him. He's a good dude.
I'd like to see him be successful. I'd prefer he not be like awesome, because that would make me feel not great.
All of a sudden, he just takes care of the ball.
But functional would be okay. I can live with functional.
I'm with you.
That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla. We've got more coming up next. Welcome back.
Shane got crushed over the break. Hopefully your feelings are okay.
Was there a little bit of leakage there? I didn't want any of that stuff you were talking about extra to go out over the air there.
Yeah, including the part that's actually supposed to go out over the air.
Like our voices.
Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla. Shane's over there somewhere. I don't know what he's doing. We are live on
Just
Facebook,
stopping the leakage.
on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also catch us on podcast if you missed any of the show so far. It's been a doozy.
Aren't they all?
Yeah, mostly. They really mostly are.
I'm mad at your buddy. He's totally right. He said the same thing that you
Like
did.
word for word.
No, yeah.
I think it's an era thing. Like they were popular when we were.
Those are not lifesavers. They're different than gummy lifesavers.
They look like, if you look at the package, they look very similar.
I'm mad.
You're mad that they look like something else? What am I supposed to do with that? Like, I can't control. Listen, I can't control your emotions about a fact that
they're significantly greater than gummy lifesavers. Okay. Don't dumb them. That's like if you're a big Jordan fan and you see Harold Miner and you're like, oh man,
baby Jordan.
There's Jordan. You're like, no, that's not Jordan.
I understand that. But if you see a 6'6" guy
and he's black, he's Jordan,
an African American guy who's athletic, you can be like, oh, he kind of looks like Jordan.
That might be the dumbest thing I've heard in this show.
Doesn't mean he is Jordan. Listen, if you see a roll up, like a roll of candy, you tell me these don't look like gummy lifesavers. Just because they are better doesn't mean they don't look the same.
Well, it was his delivery. He goes, and I know his personality, and he's sarcastic. So he goes, oh, just lifesavers, but Haribo. No.
Like Harambe?
Whatever the hell it is.
That's not what they are.
The Harambe gummies?
No.
Oh, my bad.
I'm done.
What happened?
You two are the same person. That's why.
So the Big Ten had an anonymous coaches poll. What did you find interesting out of that, DB?
So there's like this secret affinity for Coach Rule.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big secret.
Not anymore.
No.
Not anymore.
But it's secret because it's anonymous, so by nature. But
man. See?
But I don't think that's the part that people had to be anonymous for, because people are pretty complimentary of Coach Rule up front, right? Like they like that dude. Whether it's people in Texas. The only people in the world that don't like Matt Rule live in North Carolina. And
that's probably accurate.
And most of those people are mad at the wrong person.
Yeah.
I think
although with each day he gets a little smarter.
Yeah. That Rule does, not Tepper.
Correct.
Tepper has not gotten smarter.
Yes.
He's not sure how he knows how to run a franchise.
Even though our Tepper is probably the greatest Dave Tepper ever.
He's definitely my preferred Dave Tepper.
Yeah.
Out of the two that I've heard of.
See, there you go.
Shout out if he's shout out if he's listening in Colorado. No, yeah, it's there is an affinity for Nebraska. I like it. I like the respect. Put the respect on the name.
So this was the quote that we're talking about, just because we have to give it some context, not assuming everybody read it. It's Nebraska. They're going to break through this year. It's just a question of how big. They should definitely be bowling. It's all about the quarterback. They've tried to slow play it as much as possible, but he's clearly their best option, the most talented, the guy that makes the system work. Matt Rule has done a great job reworking the offensive talent. They're going to have some breakout wide receivers, and they have a really deep group of running backs. Tony White is going to be a head coach soon, but getting him back for another year is just huge for them. I thought that the shift to the 3-3 worked out really well for them. They're starting to look like the old or legendary Nebraska with the size and talent up front on defense.
Agreed.
That seemed a little, even for me.
It's pretty flowery.
It is.
Yeah, I agree though. There's nothing there that I'm like, literally the only thing I took pause was, no, it was running backs. I don't know how deep they are at running back. Well, I know they have a handful of options.
Yeah, they'll play 4.
Yeah, I don't know which of those options.
He didn't remember. He didn't say.
He said really deep group of running backs.
If I could play 4 guys, that's pretty deep. I mean,
yeah, but that's all you've got.
Really. It isn't Canizares against Northern Iowa eking out a win.
No, I don't know why. That just struck me as a little optimistic on the.
He just said deep.
Group.
He didn't say whether they were all 9s.
Really deep.
Would you play 5 guys?
I wouldn't play 5 guys, but I'd
Could you play 5 guys?
Like the burger place?
Yeah, they're on my TikTok a lot, but I don't want to get distracted.
Yeah, that never happens.
Wow.
I meant for both of us. For both of us. That was a royal we situation.
Man, live with that, bro.
I know.
I live with that, bro.
Man, live with that, bro.
I can't. I have to work with it, and it drives me up the wall.
I wouldn't necessarily. I think that they've got 4 guys they feel like. I think the top end of the running back group is good, but there's not that many guys behind. Like, how many scholarship running back guys would you like in the room?
5 minimum.
Right, and you've only got 4, right?
So we've got Ramir.
Yep.
Gabe.
Yep. Dante.
Calabria. Dowdell.
Okay, and then you got Quentin and Emmett.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're at 5.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't call that really deep. Like, that's about what you would want.
You'd play all 5. Historically, you revisionist history, folks. Like, we had 4 good ones, and you're like, oh man, they're so deep. And that was only 4.
If Gabe is healthy, we don't know.
But do you understand what you were doing? Like, if we played 4 and we played 5, if you counted Sims, who was pretty good, like you said, that was deep, right?
That's because like all 5 of you guys could have played in the NFL.
But he didn't say anything about quality. He just said guys that you can play. I think if you can play 5 of anything outside of an NBA starting lineup or college basketball
or offensive line,
that's deep.
So by that argument, they've got a really deep defensive back room.
Okay. You want to go back to this defensive backs?
Well, I'm trying to get context here, because I would argue that to a different
unless you listen to me today or the last couple of weeks, everybody would say, hey, this is a deep defensive backs room. Everybody.
Well, we had the discussion that they have a lot of options, not a lot of answers.
And I still would say that the secondary room is deep.
Okay.
They just don't have a lot of guys that are game.
Yeah, you're not proven.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as we're on the same page,
I don't even know about game ready.
Okay. So you think you have more depth game ready in the running back room?
Not even close.
Okay.
It is not optional.
4 of those guys have already played in a game.
Okay. I'm just trying to make sure we're using
you know what
the same terminology here, because
four of those guys have played in a real game.
Fair. Technically, the defensive back room is deep. We just don't know if any of them are good.
And we haven't. The only time we've seen Ethan Nation is as a punt returner. Really.
Sure. So we haven't seen him as his position yet.
Yeah. So you got Lil Boodle.
Fair.
You got Charles,
which we don't know.
I always have to be careful on this. Little Bootle.
Yeah. With an L in there. That's important.
Correct.
Buford. We've seen
though.
We've seen Buford.
It'd be interesting to finally see him healthy. So that's kind of my concern. Can I get back to that though?
Absolutely.
Especially if you move Hartzog, because those back 3, with the exception of Gifford, they've all been hurt, injury prone.
Yeah. If you move Hartzog, then you're going to have young guys that have to play in those spots.
Yeah, that's my thing.
But if you don't move Hartzog, you're going to have guys that have
You'll
to
have
play
to
on
have
the
young
outside.
guys. Yeah. And in my opinion, you better go get in. You better move in a more experienced corner.
So you want
at least to buy you some time.
So you want to move Hartzog to corner?
Because I think Charles and those guys will be able to play at some point.
You think it's
because they're pretty talented.
Easier to scheme around young safeties or young corners? Because that's what we're coming down to, right?
Easier to scheme, or I'm going
to protect them.
Gosh, this is going to sound crazy.
That's a beautiful question.
I'm going to say corners.
Because you think, right? My initial is, hey, you don't want to put those guys on an island, but you can send help.
I'm going to say corners.
Okay. So you would leave Hartzog as is.
Because you can play some zone. You can play some 3D. You can play some version of quarters, little man under. Your safeties, I don't know. I just think about our defense. And we're not even as prolific of passers at the high school level. I much rather think we can cover up a corner than we can our safeties, especially in a 3-4. When we play an odd front, like you have to, we're fighting over 2 guys now on where they're going to go. And I think the consensus is we prefer them both at safety.
So they can help out.
Yeah.
Fair. So you think Hartzog should stay?
In that league, they'll find you at corner though. I don't know how much you can protect them.
Okay.
So go with Buford, Singleton, and
go with young safeties.
In Buford if you're calling them young.
Yeah. Inexperienced.
Yeah, go with Buford.
All right.
And move Malcolm for right now.
Coming up next, we will get into a little college baseball with Rob McCoy, head coach of Niagara in Nebraska's regional. Coming up next. Wrapping up the show here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, Capital and Lincoln. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage, and we're joined now by head coach of Niagara University baseball, Rob McCoy. Coach, how are you this morning?
I'm well. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Coach, we appreciate you. Excuse me. You're up first as we just kind of preview the regional here. So we appreciate your time and available to step up to the plate.
Absolutely.
Coach, so let me just ask here. You've been at Niagara for a while, but this is a real breakthrough season for you. Obviously, with the Gotti record at 38-15, making your first NCAA regional there. What has been the difference between this year, where you've had some pretty solid years in the last few as you were kind of building some momentum? What allowed you to break through this year?
Yeah, I think it was that momentum the whole time. You know, you see like it's kind of like a snowball, I guess, heading downhill. It's slow at first and small, and you're making small incremental improvements, and those improvements lead to bigger improvements, whether it be, you know, development or recruiting and things like that. And more, you know, the better you are, the more people buy into it. The kids go out in the summer and help get their friends. And next thing you know, you've got some pretty exciting pieces on your team that you think could be special. And then they see that, and then they gel together around the quality of the team, and then you break through. So we've been, you know, around 500 the last handful of years,
yeah,
5th or 6th in the tournament, and then yeah, it was kind of right for what we're doing now.
Coach, I've asked a lot of our guys that we've had on, whether it's Service or Coach Bolt or any of the guys we talk to regionally. What's for you? What has kind of been the difference of the major sports that's allowed college baseball to keep older guys? It's still one of the sports where we're a few years removed from the COVID year, and I get that, but it just continues to be one of the sports where that is a little more mature. It's an older program. It's older programs that we see still here for college baseball.
Yeah, I think that those guys are still out there, right? And I think that baseball guys want to play baseball, and at the end of the day, they could go to different programs early and realize that maybe that's not the fit for them to play. And so there's this constant movement around the portal and you know, with other schools that provides the opportunity to get these grad transfers. And you know, baseball is a slow developing sport, so it takes a long time for you to get better at it. And you could have, you know, we're always going to have situations where we redshirt a guy, and that guy ends up having a grad year of eligibility down the road. So I just think it's the nature of the people that play baseball and the desire they have to continue to play, and then our willingness to see that as an asset. You know, I think it's an asset to have older guys, and instead of constantly bringing in younger guys that you have to hold their hand through everything.
I know I at least locally known for playing football in college, but baseball is my favorite sport. And I think it's weird because, to your point, it's probably the one sport where the more reps you have, it's actually seen as an advantage, as opposed to, you know, being too old as a 24-year-old in the draft in the NFL, or, you know, the dirty college basketball senior that wasn't a one and done guy, where baseball is actually viewed as the more reps you get, the better it is for the long haul.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. I think the more reps you get, the more valuable you can be, because you've seen more things that are going to matter. And yeah, I guess in the other sports, they do kind of have that age stigma of, well, how are you, you know, are you really that good if you made it, you know, if you made it to your senior year in college basketball? So I could see that definitely being the case. Yeah.
We're talking with head coach Rob McCoy of Niagara baseball. They will get started off in the Stillwater regional against host Oklahoma State. Coach, as you look at your first opponent, and I'm sure you kind of looked at the field in general, as you're going to end up playing at least one of the other two teams in that regional as well. What are some things you've looked at and you think you might have an advantage or someplace you can make some hay in this regional?
I just think that I don't know that we have an advantage necessarily in any way, shape, or form, but I think we're a good, solid baseball club. So I think our advantage is that we're gonna force the other teams in the tournament to play good baseball themselves. I don't know that they're gonna be able to have a bad day and do that well against us. I could be wrong, but I see us going in there and not really being overwhelmed. We've got 3 or 4 Power 5 wins in the last 4 years or 5 years, and so it's not like we haven't been in this situation before with this quality of team. We beat Oregon last year in a midweek game when they were in a super regional championship. So there's a lot of guys on this team that were in that game, and so we're going to give them a tough time.
Coach, you do have some guys on your team with some pop as well. Do you think the location itself, Stillwater, is going to allow for a little bit of power hitters to have a decent weekend? Do you think that might play it to your favor at all?
I do think that. I actually do think that. I think that, if we can get the barrel on some balls in the right situations, then things could get really interesting, because we do, we've already looked at it, and their park has got almost as similar exact dimensions ours does. So we're excited to see how our offense plays there, because we do have a good offense, and we have some guys that can hurt you if you make mistakes.
Coach, it's interesting. I think maybe the lack of scout could be an advantage to you, especially with guys like Zach and Ryan. And I get, Zach's he's much older as the grad student that you were talking about, but Ryan just a redshirt sophomore. Like at the top of the rotation, it's not too bad to have guys that don't have a lot of tape or good film on kind of your approach and how you like to attack guys.
Yeah, I would think that's an advantage, and Zach, again, Zach got the save against Oregon last year, and he's really good against guys that think they can tee off on him because he's got a plus change up. And Ryan started his career at Virginia, so he's not going to be overwhelmed by anything he experiences.
Coach, as we talk about your pitching rotation and your pitching staff a little bit here, have you thought out at all about how you're going to structure it? Some people kind of like to try and save the bullpen a little bit after game one. Like, are you just kind of go all out like you would on a normal weekend series, or how do you plan on structuring that pitching staff?
Yeah, I have a very specific strategy that I'm going to use.
I like that.
Yeah, I used it. I used it against Florida State opening night in 2020 when we beat them 3-1. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing this time.
Coach, how about for the school itself? Right, you've I think you started in 2009. We're an interim. You've gotten the job. They've seen this thing through. You've had patience. They've had patience. How much that is just like so rewarding that it's like the good old days when you have people that believe in you and allow your process to develop. Sometimes it's like love, man. It just takes time.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good observation on your part. Most schools, I wouldn't have gotten the opportunity this long to figure that out. And to be honest with you, I was only in my third year of coaching when I got the interim job, and we think we know a lot more at that age than we really do. And I had to go through some things personally. I had to go through some things as a coach, and if I hadn't been here and they hadn't believed in, now having said that, like, we've always been clean off the field. We've always been really solid academically. So it's not like the program was in shambles. We just weren't getting the result on the field that I wanted, but we were running a good program, and so that's why they stick with me. And then I had a chance to figure some things out and learn what type of athlete we needed here, and we needed to win, and how to coach them, and it's been a learning process that frankly I wouldn't have gotten in most other places as a head coach. But I've always valued the opportunity, and I've always felt I'm not from here originally, and I got this opportunity. I've always felt very lucky to be one of 300 Division I coaches in the country. It's been a blessing.
Yeah, you have a couple of former teammates and players from your Wesleyan days that are actually in our listening audience. So you'd be surprised at how well received you are. But let me get you here out on this, Coach. Obviously, the level of excitement, your guys is cheering and you're ready to go. But you said you won't be and all. You'll embrace the moment. How quick did you turn around the emotions to say, okay, let's go out and try to accomplish not a lot of people think we can?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've learned in those good and bad days is that you can't get with the ebbs and the flows. You can't get too high or too low. And don't get me wrong, I feel very blessed to be in the situation to have this opportunity and whatnot. But to me, it's just another game, and we've got business to take care of. I told our guys, which every good coach should, it's not a field trip, it's a business trip, and and so it's just an opportunity for us to show the world, whoever's watching, what we're capable of doing and the hard work that they've put in and that they deserve. And my work at this point is done, other than making out the lineup and then putting guys in the best situations possible.
Coach, we appreciate
Fantastic.
you joining us. Good luck this weekend, except for if you play Nebraska. And I hope you hit some dingers. Let's go.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Coach.
That's Coach Rob McCoy. He's that coach at Niagara baseball. Great story. And hopefully they can make a little noise.
Administrative patience is key.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And that definitely paid off for Niagara. That's DB. I'm Ravi. Lulla. Shane's over there in his birdhouse. We will be back tomorrow here on Hurrdat Sports Radio.